Welcome to Pokemon Tournament Round 2. Welcome.
Hey, hi, how are you? I'm here to explain the rules of what we're doing real fast for you because we didn't do that on stream. Sit down. I see you trying to skip forward and I will not tolerate it. We each drafted a different generation of Pokemon. There's 10 of us, 9 gens of Pokemon, so one of those generations was drafted twice. After the fact, we split ourselves into teams of 2. Why we did that was mostly because there's 10 of us, so each person would have to do a lot of battles and that's too much time. Each person gets 3 fights, and at the end of the tournament, the team with the most wins and least losses wins. For example, let's say you and I on our team, which that would never happen. And let's say I win 2 games, lose 1, and you win all 3 games, because you're a legend. Then our team would be 5-1. The team with the highest score wins. Pretty simple. For the team building, for the most part, it was pretty simple. No legendaries, no Z-type moves, no terrestrializing, none of that BS. And just national dex rules. I'm assuming any rules I've forgotten are currently on screen. Zach, you're adding that, right? Anyway, that's it. Enjoy the video. Watch the other one if you haven't yet. Now I'm going to casually walk off screen.
So,
anyway,
one more really quick shout out. A huge thank you once again to Sibilla for making all the sick art of all of us and the art for Jason in the pre-stream. So good. Absolutely incredible work. Please. Thank you so much, Sibilla.
Chris versus Zach in the first match is the match from the last match of the previous tournament. Basically, that decided the entire tournament who won, and Zach pulled it all off in the end. It was close. I remember the Bug team versus the Fairy team there. So
yeah, this was the final
rematch.
Yep.
And like I said, I'll try to bring up what generation each person is. So Zach is Gen 8 and Chris is Gen 7.
Generation 7 is a generation I think gets hurt by our rule set significantly. There's no Ultra Beast or Paradox Pokemon in particular. Their stats are just too wonky or too good in comparison to just basic level Pokemon, so that hurts Gen 7. I think a large portion of its dex was devoted to it, or at least a significant portion of it. But Chris is still able to make a pretty solid team here. There's no way around it. Chris has a significant damage. He's scared of ground moves. He doesn't have any resistances or immunities to it, especially since Toxapex is one of his tankier members and also gets damaged by it too. So it's something that if somebody just uses a ground move, he's got to find a way to deal with it. Earthquake is a very dangerous thing that can just happen to Chris, so something to be mindful of. Also, Chris doesn't really have a primary special attacker. He's got Ninetales, obviously, with some special attacking moves, but it's more on the utility side with Encore and Aurora Veil. Gen 7's also not that fast either, so having priority moves like Shadow Sneak and Accelerock is pretty good. It's just not a generation that has that many speedy Pokemon. He does have Lycanroc, ironically, which is probably one of the faster Pokemon in his generation, but something to keep in mind too is priority moves really keep you in the game in terms of speed. Also, speaking of Ninetales, we have Aurora Veil, one of the best moves in terms of utility, I think, in the game. It's just so good. Same with Encore, very good too. Aurora Veil is both Reflect and Light Screen. You can only use it in snow or hail, and he has the ability to change weather, so if he's running into Sandstreams, he can change that out and kind of hurt teams that try to use that as a strategy. But Aurora Veil is very good, same with Encore. 3 turns locked in to any setup users right there. Ensign is the doubles king for VGC, but in singles, he's not that goat. But he's still pretty good. Parting Shot and Intimidate always will just kind of neutralize Pokemon a little bit in terms of their physical prowess, and then Will-O-Wisp especially on top of it. And then you have the tanky Como with Stealth Rock, Dragon Tail to kind of knock him into it with Iron Defense as well. Toxapex is a bastard. Even though he doesn't have Baneful Bunker on the set, it's still a nice set here. Regenerator keeps this thing healthy, can burn people who want to switch in on it, haze anybody who wants to set up on it, recover anybody who wants to just keep trying to fish for damage or just kind of try to attack it, and then Toxic Spikes to kind of wear you down. Mimikyu and Lycanroc bring up the damage right here. Physical Swords Dancers right here, which is pretty nice. Mimikyu obviously has that Disguise to try to get a free hit, and then Swords Dance, and then go from there. So Chris has a pretty good team, and I'm excited to see what he does with it in this tournament. You'll start to see a common theme with me talking about late game gens. We've heard it in Gen 6, we've heard it in Gen 7, that when you have a mechanic that is introduced in your gen that is not just completely revolutionary to your gen. So abilities in Gen 3, items in Gen 2. Gen 8 gets hit by the Dynamax, for example. And again, that's not as significant as you would think. Just some Pokemon were designed almost with Gigantamax in mind, and obviously we can't use either Gigantamax or Dynamax. Now, Zach's team, if I actually had to, we'll start with the weakness and worry that I have for him right now is, if he is versing a strong water, and there's a lot of strong waters, he really only has one move on this entire set to really deal with that. And I think that's a little scary. And he also is a little weak to the water moves in Cinderace, Ursaluna. And when your wall, I think I said this for Chris's team, does not wall off the team, the move that you were worried about, that I think can hit your team very hard, it's very scary. So that's something Zach has got to be careful about. He does have screens and support with Parting Shot. With Grimmsnarl, he has Anti-Stealth Rock and Taunts and Toxic Thunder Waves Willows with Hatrine, so that's something he's really got to pivot correctly and make perfect use of him. He's got the Court Change Will-O-Wisp on Cinderace, so even if he does get spiked, even though Hatrine might be able to block it, it's something he can counter a little bit there. And Corv's just a beefy wall. He's basically Skarmory 2.0. Very tanky, does a lot of damage. Is incredible typing-wise. And Ursaluna just hits like a fucking truck. Inteleon's fast, does a lot of damage, sweeps in, cleans up the kills. Zach's team is very balanced, but like I said, he does have notable weaknesses, and he's got to play around them. And he's got to use smart usages of his switch, of Hatrine, and find opportune moments, I think, for specifically Ursaluna, because of its speed being so slow. He's got to find correct moments for it to be either behind screens or something he can really bully before he really starts going. I think Corviknight's the really easy, solid, just like staple of this team, being able to basically handle a lot of threats that he doesn't know what to switch in. He can just throw in Corviknight, and I think that's really safe for Zach. So Gen 8 is solid, but like I said, there are things that he's got to be aware of, and I think Zach has a prime position to maneuver around us with this team.
Gen 8 versus Gen 7. If you base it off my previous stream, I would expect some notable things here. That I think Corviknight's going to be really big in this matchup, and Grimmsnarl is going to probably set up screens right here. So what's going to happen is, this is a tanky Como, and Grimmsnarl is probably just going to set up the screens and do some parting shots and then get to a counter if Chris doesn't set up or get out. So I think Rocks is going to come in here, and then screens are also going to come in here. And what might happen is, he magic bounces the Rocks back. So already learning and using the team sheets planned, getting the Rocks onto Chris's team, already seeing high-level strats out of Mr. Save Data Zach, using the Hatrine. We knew that using open sheets was going to be a big thing. Getting rock damage already onto the Ninetales right here, which is perfect. Now, Ninetales can't be stopped while doing these screens. Unfortunately, he does not carry the taunt on this Grimmsnarl, so it's going to get an Aurora Veil up, which is important. Last time we had a Ninetales that did not use Aurora Veil during the entire tournament. I was very sad. It's such a powerful move. Still doesn't use the Aurora Veil, but what it does is have a light screen and a reflect all in one move. So Grimmsnarl is spending 2 moves for what Ninetales is doing in 1, which is extremely important. Also, I think the light screen value against Chris's team is worse. I think Zach should have went for a reflect. Get those physical sweepers more nullified. I know he's currently versing in Ninetales that does special attack, but Chris doesn't have any other special attackers, so I don't know why he did that. The encore play fails. The switch out to Ursaluna. This bear is hungry bear, going for attacks that are just going to be devastating to this team. Burn, Guts, with a facade damage with stab, with how much attack Ursaluna has, is incredible damage. Chris sacking the Vaporlord here, if we use the names. Sword Stance, knowing that this thing has no... he should not have gone for the Sword Stance. The Encore should be coming out. Maybe a mistake from Zach right there. Encore is going to stop this thing from doing anything. Nice play from Chris. Learns to do it. Now, Chris can substitute a counter in here that will threaten this Ursaluna. It's not behind a reflect, so you can actually kill it. And Chris might be able to set up himself. I expect a double switch, actually, right here. No switch. Chris still staying with his beloved Ninetales, which I'm going to call his best friends. He probably met it on the ski slopes here. Goes to Pex. Pex is going to wall off this thing, but then goes out with the Parting Shot. Parting Shot, flip turn, U-turn, Volt Switch, all very annoying moves. Teleport, because you basically get a free switch and something active. It's using your action economy very efficiently. Goes for the Earthquake with Aurora Veil, very, very tanky. I think Toxic Spikes is not incredible value, but enough. You can pick those up with poison types, but Zach does not have any. Right now, I think Pex is in a lot of danger. Goes to Lycanroc. Very questionable move that goes against the ground move. Maybe, oh, we talked about this in the pre-stream. A strong ground type. Zach did the scouting, knows that he can just press Earthquake. Nothing can resist it. Maybe should have went to Como there. He does have a Disguise right here, which will block any Earthquakes on the first initial one, but probably can't go for Shadow Sneak. Needs to go for the Play Rough, which can miss, or any other move. Can't use those Ghost moves. What does Zach do right now? I'm not sure. He might go switch to Corv here. Maybe, because he can wall off anything he does. Goes to Corviknight, gets the Sword Stance. And honestly, I don't know if Corviknight really can do it. Unless he has, I think he has Iron Head instead of Drill Peck. Yeah, so Iron Head will threaten this Mimikyu right here. And Mimikyu can't do shit to this thing. So here's the thing. Comes in, gets Mirror Armor.
Is this guy good?
And then goes for the Iron Head. Nice play. Parting Shot will also get Mirror Armor too. So you can't do anything there. Fearing a Fire move might go towards that Inteleon, but I would say that's a risky move. You don't want to bring that guy out early. What do you go here? Maybe Grimmsnarl, kind of take a little hit here. Honestly, here's the thing. Might go for a Will-O-Wisp instead, which I would go for instead of attacking this thing. Gets the burn on the Flare Blitz. Holy shit. Here's the thing, indeed, running in. So that nullified Corviknight pressure, but still a relevant wall here. So this is very interesting. Again, Corviknight is extremely dangerous for Chris's team. He does not have a special attacker that's not named Ninetales, so he really can't deal with Corviknight at all. He has to come up with hazard ways to deal with him. He had two, so this match could go on for 60 turns, which, you know, representing Ian here, I guess, this could go on for a very long time because there's no way to kill Corviknight. And I think this will be a problem for Chris right now. So, yeah, even through the burn, that body press did that much damage. So, Zach's the wall off. Should be able to wall off Chris's team pretty significantly here. And this is what I was saying. If you do not have a special attacker in these matchups, you have really strong defensive type Pokemon in this tournament. What Saving Throw could do here is actually bulk up himself, or Iron Defense himself. I don't know if he has Iron Defense. I tried studying the moveset, but it's hard to remember 10 different movesets, and I can't pull them up right now. I wish I did. But yeah, they both are going to go for the Iron Defense. So now, if I look at my watch, one is burned. The other one has no healing move, but the other one does. So we're going to go on for probably 50 years here, because there's zero reason for any of these guys to switch. For the sake of time, they might switch. I'm sure all of the guys who are waiting are saying, "Oh, good job." But honestly, it's the correct play from both of them mathematically. Zach, thinking better of it, switches out, going for the Iron Defense. Now, the difference is that Zach can technically go to Inteleon and just still one-shot Saving Throw here. Goes for the Reflect, the correct play right here. Dies, so it's not getting Parting Shot. He has to go Inteleon here, or he could go Hatrine. Yeah, he has to go Inteleon to threaten this thing with damage. Going probably for an Ice Beam here. He is choiced, so he will be locked into the Ice Beam. So theoretically, Chris could go into like Ninetales or Toxapex if he expects this, but he doesn't want to take rock damage either. So I think Ice Beam might not kill Como. It's not quad. It's only one. He might live, but goes to the Ninetales to block it. He might still die. It's choiced. Barely lives. Never can get this Ninetales back in. Needs to go for the screen right here and sack this thing. Might as well, because he's never coming back in. But outsped, so doesn't get the screen off. Perfect kill. So now Inteleon's set up here. I think you go Toxapex. I was thinking Toxapex might have been the better switch than Ninetales out of those two options, but goes to Pex now. What do you do with Pex? He has Haze, which he can haze away. I don't like Haze here. He maybe can go for his Scald, but not much damage there. kind of here for like a pivot switch in general. But yeah, with these rocks, they're also starting to hurt Chris's team because I don't think he has heavy-duty boots either. So Inteleon still locked into Ice Beam. Zach probably switching out to maybe Corv. Yeah, because anytime Zach doesn't know what to switch in, he can just switch in Corv, and it's already burned anyway. So you can just wait there. But Chris is also burning out the Reflex, and now he doesn't have Grimmsnarl to set them up again, so he can go back to Como. And we're going to get the same thing here. I think you're going to see these two are just destined to face each other. Como and Corviknight, you can just know that they're brothers in arms, men at the gates holding the lines, knightly battles here. If you really think of the imagery, I don't know. But they could both go for iron defense and then body presses. They're almost copying each other's moves, which is ironic too. But there's like no reason for Chris to switch out, and also there's no reason for Zach to switch out. I think Zach has to get Inteleon in on this. This is dangerous, by the way. This is a bad move. This thing, by the way, Hatrine weighs like nothing, so this body press, like, not that it does damage based off that. That's heavy slam, but still, like, body press, like, its physical defenses are really bad. It's still got to reflect up, so Chris has to leave because it's fighting and Dragon, and a Draining Kiss would do a lot of damage. Bad move from Chris, staying in, gets Draining Kiss and gets obliterated. Saving throw, more like saving done. And what does Chris go here? Hatrine basically kills the rest of his team with Draining Kiss, and he can go Corviknight for the Mimikyu. So Chris is in a really bad spot. I guess you go Infernape here. Sorry about it. Yeah, with the packs. Yeah, I feel bad too, looking and having to see this thing and commentate on what it does. It's so interesting with its haze, its regenerator, its scalds. It doesn't have Baneful Bunker, but, you know, it could be worse. Anyway, going for the scald actually doesn't do much damage. You can go for Calm Mind setup here, and it's basically a matter of time before the inevitable end for Chris here. So yeah, it was a good match. I think, again, walling people off is interesting. Yeah, he does have haze. Oh, he does have haze. He does have haze. So you can't stall up on it. And yeah, it is poison. So theoretically, this could take a little bit more lengthier of time. Giga Drain is Zach's only damaging move besides Earthquake against really significant damage source against this Toxapex. He does have Recover. I don't know why Zach is doing this. And once again, we're getting up to higher levels of combat here. So, you know, sometimes during battles this can happen. It happens on Showdown all the time that gentlemen get into a cycle. You don't really want to move. You're so stubborn in your ways that, you know, you get to a moment like this. The Psychic coming out had that the entire time. So here's the thing, comes in. Might be able to kill Hatrine, but if Zach was really mean, he'd go to you Magic Bounce the parting shot back. Goes maybe to Mimikyu here. Here we go. The Swords Dance Mimikyu. Can he kill his entire team? Magic Bounce is a fun move. By the way, expect Magic Bounce to get a lot of bad reactions out of everybody here because it is a gross move. When used efficiently, Magic Bounce is, especially with open team sheets, is disgusting. Get ready to see that thing be the bane of a lot of teams. Same with like Encore. Encore is really devastating too. It just gets better when you know what the enemy team is doing. So Mimikyu could go for a Shadow Sneak right here, which is kind of fun. Actually, he doesn't. Does he have Shadow Sneak? If he Shadow Sneaks there, could he actually have one Shadow Sneak? I mean, he would have to get through Corviknight still. Okay, I don't know. There we go. It's interesting, but good match. Good match.
Damn.
And you're seeing when
you party shot me, and it made me switch, I was so confused.
Oh, it made you switch.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm an idiot.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
Magic Bounce bounces the switch.
I knew it would Magic Bounce. I didn't realize it would make you switch.
Jake and Wes, battle of the Gen 2 teams. Here's why we had 2 Gen 2 teams, because there's only 9 generations.
So Gen 2 is a very underrated gen. I think it's actually not as bad as most people would think based off my interactions with it from Pokemon Blindfolded 2. But it's actually got a lot of sneaky good Pokemon, and I think I like how Wes showcases off a couple of those guys in here. Wes kind of running a little bit of a weather team with T-Tar and getting a Sandstream, getting some synergy with Scissor and Skarmory, which is really nice. But T-Tar's just always been really good. I'm happy to see it in this tournament. It's just been a solid Pokemon. Obviously, it's got, you know, some setup there with the Sandstream and other utility moves and just good damage. And then you got other cores of Gen 2, very good steel types, being Scissor and Skarm. Skarm is just that massive wall before Corviknight really came along and kind of stole some of its thunder. Very good Pokemon right there. Can wall off a lot of threats. Just great typing. Scissor, obviously with the Technician Bullet Punch, is always a threat. We saw it in the last tournament. I think it was probably the MVP of the tournament, I would say, for Zach's Bug team in particular. Just a super good Pokemon. Picked up a lot of kills there, so you can never underestimate how much a Choice Band Technician Bullet Punch will hurt. It just hurts so much. And then he's got a nice special wall of Slowking. He can take damage, absorb things with Regenerator and Slack Off, throw out maybe a Future Sight and as he's like about to leave, scald things for, you know, burns and such. Just provide some utility, teleport out, take some damage, take some hits. Slow teleport's always really good, so that way you take the hit for your squishy guys and then switch in a more priority member such as Scissor and Typhlosion. And in this team comp, Umbreon's a massive wall as well. Actually has kind of like that healer set with like Wish and Heal Bell, just to kind of provide some utility there. And then Typhlosion just blocks it down with the special damage, which you kind of need, especially since like Wes is kind of scared for some steel types here. So I think Typhlosion deals with those guys a little bit, and the bulky grass I think is a nice people to deal with as well. So Typhlosion covers all of that with its special attacking prowess. And yeah, Wes's team is pretty balanced here. I like what he's got cooking. I'm happy to see a lot of these guys represented in the tournament, and I can't wait to see what Wes does with them. So Gen 2 is back with Jake's set. This is the second team in Gen 2, and Jake brings back the Porygon Evolved now, Porygon 2, fan favorite from the previous tournament with his crazy set with the Last Resort. He's back. He was 1 percentage point off from taking out Ian. Unfortunately, came out that 1 percentage point, so Porygon 2 should be able to get over the hill with his new boosted stats. So I'm excited to see it back. Everybody loves that Porygon set. And as you can see, Jake's team for Gen 2 is pretty similar to Wesley's team right here. We got the Typhlosion, Umbreon, and T-Tar back. And I like having two teams in the tournament of the same gen because I like seeing the differences people might come up with their team building besides just having the same Pokemon. You know, what other Pokemon in the gen can shine. I think showcasing off other Pokemon from the generation that the other player might not have picked is always fun. And also, I think just seeing how differently they build the Pokemon that they include in their team. So you can see the T-Tar here, kind of a mixed set, a little bit more like has the Dragon move and Dark Pulse mixed. And T-Tar's special attack isn't bad, so it's not that bad here. And then obviously the Hone Claws helps with the Stone Edge, accuracy, and damage as well. And then an offensive Umbreon, and I think that is unique in comparison to Wes's more support style. And he is, you know, it's different to see an Umbreon try to go for more of an offensive base, but I respect the game. All 4 dark moves, that thing is very dark, in case you were not wondering. I can't even see it anymore. But you also have the Typhlosion with the unique counter, so when he does get chunked pretty significantly, he'll be able to counter and maybe one-shot something. And then the 3 fire moves, again, just massive amounts of damage. I will say Typhlosion does do a lot of damage too, so you got to respect the Typhlosion there and how much damage you can bring out. Meganium is another one I think Game Freak has shunned in particular, but Leech Seed is always annoying with Giga Drain, just a lot of staying power, the healer build with Aromatherapy. And then we got Octillery bringing in the backside here with a Toxic, Ice Beam, Scald. Just some more utility moves, just kind of round out some of the type advantages that you can try to get from your move pool here against specific types. So I'm just happy to see Jake back in here. It's always fun to have him, and I can't wait to see what he does at the tournament.
So Gen 2 teams, 3 of the same Pokemon. We have T-Tar represented twice, Typhlosion represented twice, and we also have Umbreon represented twice. Now, they both have different movesets for these guys. It's going to be kind of crazy to see some of the adjustments here. We also have the hype matchup that is Porygon back with Barrier, Last Respect, or not Last Respects, Barrier, Last Resort, Protect, and Pain Split. So once he uses all of those moves, can actually use his really stab last resort move. So I'm super excited to see that come out. And again, once again,
should we go ahead and start?
I have to mention, seconds before putting the battle together, the showdown was like, wait, your team's not valid. So it's actually not barrier anymore. It's Zen headbutt.
Okay, so we're back. All right, here we go. Umbreon versus Umbreon. Hopefully, no, Scissor. Scissor's gonna chew this thing apart. This cat's gonna get fucking mollywopped if he doesn't switch out on this clamps here. He's gonna get clamped from an X Scissor maybe here. So gotta run away if you're Umbreon. Gotta know that this is dangerous, or close combat just mauls this thing. So that's a little unfortunate. Cat gets pulverized right there. So what's the counter here? Typhlosion, easy counter here. Maybe you're gonna force Wes to switch back to the Slow King. Could just U-turn out if he's not banded. I believe Wes is banded, so he can't do that. Has to go Slow King manual instead of stick shift. Switches out here. Gonna eat probably a fire move. I think, honestly, what Jake could do is try to go for the counter, but it would die to a close combat, I believe. Typhlosion's defenses aren't that great. Goes to Slow King. Typhlosion is faster. Goes for the counter! He goes for it! Oh, that's so great, because it has negative priority, too, by the way. So he would have gotten it off. I don't know if he would have lived that, but actually, not a bad play from Jake. Goes for the counter, actually. But Slow King was the easy switch there. Goes for the Skull. Got to run away from Petal Blizzard. Can teleport out. Has Regenerator. I think it lives probably a grass move. So if you want to eat the grass move, then switch out, you can more than happy to do that. If you want to bring in like T-Tar or anything. Slow switches are really good. Slow U-turn, slow Volt Absorb, so you can eat the hit, then teleport out. Blissey can do it, but in this case, it's Slow King. Battle of the guys who have things around their neck, like their airplane guys. If you really think about it, they actually have matching outfits. That's kind of cute. Brings the Typhlosion in, goes for the Leech Seed. Great play. Leech Seed is great against Wes's team because Wes only has things that don't resist the Leech Seed. Leech Seed is immune by grass types, or grass types are immune to Leech Seed. Goes for the Octillery to eat that Eruption. I think Eruption could just be run again here, and that's devastating right there. I wanted to see what Octillery could do, but now he has to go for T-Tar. Sandstream makes the defense of rock types go up by 50%, which is really big. Or special defense by 50%. So can wall off this Typhlosion. Typhlosion probably going to Skarmory, if I had to guess, to wall off T-Tar. Physical wall there in Skarmory and blocks the Earthquake if you should go for it. Goes to Skarmory. Goes for the Dark Pulse. Okay. A special move into Skarmory. Jake going in with the Dark Pulse here. I don't know if Skarmory has Body Press, but it might do quad damage to this T-Tar. I think it might be able to take one, but Skarmory's attack is not that bad. Goes for the Stone Edge, also does incredibly respectable damage. T-Tar's attack is really good, so you should respect it. Also goes for the Dark Pulse on the Roost. Would have been resistant to it. Nice play by Jake, actually, like I said, because if he went for Stone Edge, it would have been resisted by the plain Steel type, because Roost gets rid of your flying type right there. Can't just keep going for Roost unless we get a crit here. I'm actually hoping for the crit whenever this kind of happens in our tournament. Just not because I'm rooting for a particular player, but I want the wall to be kind of broken. I think it's more entertaining when walls are broken. Makes a hyper match going here. That way it gets the turns flowing a little bit more activity going. But still the correct move by Wes. I mean, crits aren't that likely theoretically, but I'm just explaining, how it works. And, I actually still want Jake to win a match, man. I don't care who he wins. I hope Jake wins a match. His teams and hype, the hypeness he brings to this tournament is great. And we can actually say we had an author win a match, which is kind of cool. So check out Jake's books at his... check out Jake's books. Goes for Outrage. Uh-oh. That's scary because now you're locked into Outrage. Could just keep getting spikes up too if you're Wes. And that damages his entire team from here on out. Body Press is going to one-shot T-Tar. Probably could have did that the entire time. So, Typhlosion. Uh-oh! Here it comes! Protect, Paint Split. What comes first? Got Zen Headbutt, as we learned in the call. Zen Headbutt will be walled off by Skarmory, so our last resort. So I don't know how much damage this poor Porygon's gonna do, but here comes the protect. That's one. Chat, let's count up the times. That's one move. Together, we need 4 moves. What comes next? Is it Zen Headbutt? Just to get that move out? Body press? All pain split? Ah, the Zen Headbutt. Uh-oh. Rocky helmet damage. I don't know if he's gonna be able to pain split here. Roost. Wes. Roost to this thing. Yes! Yes! Wes being a bro! Wes. Roost. No! All 3 moves off. It can't use last resort, unfortunately. Was on its 3rd move out of 4. The 4th one being last resort. So now, probably going to go to Mr. Slow King yet again. Goes for the fire punch. Burn, maybe. Uh-oh, burns. Punches him in the face. They both have things around their necks. Is that the theme of the day? Mine's made of fire. Yours is made of paper mache. I don't know, Slow King, but you are a Swole King. Nice to meet you. Goes to Meganium. Neck Bros are back. Wow. Goes for the burn with the Scald there. Can teleport out. Again, just eat the grass damage here. Then maybe go back to Scarm. Or I would say you could still go to T-Tar here and then just kind of just T-Tar it up. Kind of like say what goes on here. Goes for Typhlosion. Goes for Giga Drain on the Switch. Again, poor Typhlosion. Neck Bros are back again. The Neck Bros. Anyway, probably going to go for an Eruption here. Not good for a Pokemon that looks like a dinosaur to see an Eruption. I think that's triggering already enough for it. Meganium, kind of like a bug dinosaur if you really think about it. Eruption's still going to do a lot of damage, by the way, still to this thing. Goes for the Scorching Sands on the Switch. Wes, is that the predict? Oh my god. Wesley with the read there. I think Scorching Sands, if it's choiced, they'll... Oh, this thing is actually bulky. But gets the burn. Wow, disrespectful. Maybe switches to Scissor here. I mean, you could switch to about anything, but, you know, he's a family man, so he's going to be nice and courteous here. Goes for the Leech Seed. Actually makes this match probably last a little bit longer now. Now realizing he probably has to go to something else. If you're Meganium, you probably just Leech Seed every time if you really wanted this match to keep going. Goes for Slow King. Goes for the Aromatherapy. Cures the burn! Oh my goodness gracious. What are we going to see here? Scald? He can do Future Sight too for the damage here. Meganium lasting so long. There we go. Finally goes for the Clamps to finish it off. Starts with the Clamps, got to end with the Clamps. And he's going to clamp this match down easily. And that was a close... close way to get in the Porygon Z action there. But Wes takes the Gen 2 battle right there. So...
Hell yeah. Respectable. And Wes-spectable.
Respectable with the respectable... The reads, the plays, the switches. Also, I saw some good Jake predicts, too. Kyle wearing... A white beater because the AC. I'm so sorry that you're AC.
Yeah. Also, it is. Give a round of applause for Kyle, whose air conditioner broke today, and he's just playing through the pain. You know.
We start off with Gen 1 and talking about how David came up with this nice team right here. I think Gen 1 is a fun gen. It's got 150 Pokemon. You can make something good out of 150 Pokemon. I don't care who you are. And obviously you see some 3 classic Pokemon here in Snorlax, Dragonite, and Gengar. Gengar was so good that they had to nerf Levitate off of him. Obviously really good Pokemon. High special attack, high damage. Can do a lot of tricksy things too, but David's just going more with a standard attacking set. Snorlax is probably the best normal type Pokemon maybe ever. Probably one of the best Gen 1 Pokemon ever, which is really nice to see him in action too. Just does a lot of damage, a lot of bulk, especially special bulk. And then Dragonite with the extreme speed, and then just a lot of damage is really nice. But the priority extreme speed is very handy because it outspeeds other priority moves. So Dragonite's always pretty much guaranteed to move. He does a lot of damage. You also have Chansey as well with the Evilite. I think David is the only one who is running an Evilite Pokemon in the tournament, and I think that's something unique about when you run Generations, because you might have seen Blissey in Gen 2, which we don't today, unfortunately, but you can also see Chansey. Anyway, you have Teleport to take the hits, teleport out. Great special bulk. Seismic Toss keeps you honest with your damage, so that way you can hit things. But you got to be careful of Knockoff. Knockoff is maybe the most popular move in singles, besides maybe like U-Turn. Those two moves are just gross. Knockoff probably needs to be a little bit toned down, but it ruins Evilite Pokemon. It should be known that David's really got to be aware of that. And then Venusaur, you know, has Leech Seed, Giga Drain on his, you know, just for damage types out there, and can be moderately tanky as well, kind of stick around a little bit. I like Leech Seed on grass types because it's the only thing grass types are like, they are immune to it themselves, but they bring that unique mechanic. So that's really nice, besides like maybe like Celesteela, who is not in this tournament, thank God. And then last but not least, I have not mentioned this, he's got a fucking Farfetch'd. So that's crazy. That is crazy, and I respect the game. If he ever gets intimidated with Defiant, actually can do a decent bit of damage. Going for the Brave Bird, going for the crits with Stick, just boost your crit rate, I believe. So if he gets crits, expect this thing to actually do respectable damage, I guess, for a Farfetch'd. But I'm really happy to see David's team, and I'm happy to have him in the tournament. It's always nice to see a Gen 1 team, and here we go. Gen 4 might be one of my favorite gens out of all 9 gens. I think a lot of good competitive Pokemon and rule sets came out of Gen 4. The physical special split is a big one for me, but I think a lot of Pokemon from previous gens got a lot of help. They hit puberty, then are finally ready to get in there in the wide competitive world of Pokemon. And you can see it in Togekiss and Magnezone here on Kyle's team, that their other forms are not too bad, but you can really see the strides that they made to become the great Pokemon that they are now. Magnezone being the guy who can just do so much damage with his 2 stabs, just a wall of special attack damage right there. And Togekiss too, with the ability to kind of use Serene Grace, do that air slash flinch for 60% chance to flinch with the Thunder Wave, makes it so they don't have any turns at all. Obviously, I kind of like this Gen 4 team here because it kind of reminds me of Cynthia a little bit. I think 3 Pokemon have been represented on her teams before, which is kind of a nice little throwback there. And it shows that if the strongest trainer in that region, Sinnoh, can use these Pokemon, that they're probably pretty good Pokemon. Obviously, you have competitive staples like Garchomp. I think Infernape was always pretty strong, but it's, you know, taken a little bit of a backseat for a little bit. But I like how variable Infernape can do, and he can do a lot of things and fit a lot of molds to help your team out. A lot of priority there. Just good utility damage too. Torterra is really nice too. I think it's an underrated Pokemon. You can get Leech Seed, can get back some of its HP from the Wood Hammer, and Headlong Rush is a newer move that is basically the close combat of ground moves, so it's very strong, and it's one of the few Pokemon that actually get it. Gastrodon really ties this team together because with Storm Drain it helps protect some of, you know, Torterra slash Infernape with the water moves that they're probably going to target with. Even Magnezone doesn't like the water moves, so I really like that. And again, Gastrodon just kind of has that, you know, stickiness to it that, you know, it makes it really hard to kill and kind of get rid of. Usually it has Recover, but this case it's more of an offensive attacker, so that's pretty nice. And then Garchomp just does a lot of damage. The classic Garchomp, Sword Stance, Earthquake, and a Dragon move, and you're pretty much good to go there. So I'm really excited to see what Kyle does, teaming up with Zach. He's got Zach, the previous winner for the tournament, so I want to see how those boys do, and I'm excited to see him maneuver this Gen 4 team.
Maybe not as many. I think these guys are going to be a little timid about their switches, so I expect some things to go on here. Chansey with Evilite right now is going to be able to not wall this thing off very well. It has Earthquake and Wood Hammer, which hits Chansey's poor physical defense. So I would probably run away if I'm David here, but then also Kyle could just go with the Stealth Rock. He has it on this. Goes with it right here. Goes for the Seismic Toss. Okay, fair play too. Maybe knowing he was going to go for Seismic Toss, just can stay in and just do some damage. He has the Leech Seed too, if you really wanted to, Kyle. I would probably try Leech Seeding, but he might go to Venusaur to block the Leech Seed or the Wood Hammer. Could go to that, or could go to Dragonite to try to block off the the Earthquake that might be coming in too. Another notable thing too is Farfetch is going to be damaged by these rocks. He does not have heavy-duty boots. So every time you have rocks against Farfetch is going to be really a lot of damage. He has the stick instead. Heavy-duty boots makes you immune to entry hazards. Yeah. Yep. All right. Yep. So I know that happens sometimes. Yeah. Anyway, we teleport out with the Leech Seed. That's very good. Goes to Farfetch, takes the thing, going for the hype, not to be outdone already, going for it. Obviously, probably a flying move is coming in. You could still run, I think he has X Scissor too. Could still do that as a way to not just guarantee a Magnezone switch, but he still walls off both. Magnezone is probably the easy call here. You could also go Guard Chomp so it hurts itself a little bit more when it attacks you. Another thing you could probably do. But a Brave Bird also just kind of starts killing Farfetch. If Farfetch gets a kill, honestly, it's a fucking win. But like, yeah, Guard Chomp so it hurts itself. Goes for the Brave Bird. Crits! There we fucking go! With the stick, but takes so much damage. Holy shit. Also, notable thing about Farfetch, not that fast, because it's just standing on the ground going like this. It's not that fast. So I don't know if it'll get another attack off here. But not to be outdone by RuPaul of all people, represented in the tournament, RuPaul. Oh my god. So what's gonna happen? Are we gonna get another attack? Can Farfetch? Oh my god! Please, yes, yes, crits again. Gets the U-turn, but he's gonna die on the switch anyway. So he switches, gonna die, but he gets a kill on Guard Chomp. Where were you, 2025? Farfetch killing a Guard Chomp with 2 crits. Goes in with the bomb deck, calm, tasty, not nasty, but broke the multi-scale already. Uh-oh. Doesn't have the multi-scale to resist a lot of damage. Farfetch killing a Guard Chomp in 2025. We've done it. Torterra comes in. Do you Sword Stance? He does not have Sword Stance. This is not a Sword Stancing or Dragon Dancing Dragonite. This is just a full-on offense Choice Banded Dragonite. So there is no DD. So honestly, I would just probably just stay in, just try to attack with Dragonite. I'm not sure why we have the Torterra switch in here. Has grass moves and Earthquake. Dragonite does not give a shit about those. So this Torterra is either going to get sacrificed to the gods right now of Dragonite, the derp gods is what I call it. Bomb.com tasty. I want to call it nasty, man. I don't know why. But going tasty on this, probably going to go for just any, basically, I don't think you can't go dragon move here because then you'll be locked in. Ice Spinner is a great move because now he cannot bring in Togekiss because it would get killed by the Ice Spinner as well. Probably going into Magnezone. If I had to guess, it walls off the Ice Spinner. Yeah, there you go. Goes to Magnezone. I think Thunderbolt is still good because he could just go Chansey, but at least you force him out. And he doesn't have an immunity anywhere, so I think anytime you get switches, or he doesn't have a way to also get rid of rocks. So anytime you can get David to switch into the rocks a little bit more is also really good. But if you Thunderbolt this Dragonite, I don't think you kill it. But yeah, goes for Venusaur. Also can resist the electric move right there too. Party with the Havarti. Here we go. David's got a food theme going on right here. Might go for the Leech Seed here. If you are David, I believe Kyle, is he running? He was toying with the move Substitute. If he has Substitute, that'd be really clutch on this Magnezone here. But can also be still go for like a Flash Cannon or something like that. But I expect the Leech Seed or a double pivot back to Snorlax, which would be fucking crazy. Yeah, there goes the Substitute. Unfortunately, slower, so is getting drained right here. Actually, I think this is just an L now for the Magnezone. I think he has to just leave. Unfortunately, probably go to Togekiss is what I would do here. He's not going to use a poison move on you. Yeah, so that way you can resist it. Now you can start setting up. There is no immunity with the Thunder Wave. You can go Thunder Wave, or you can just start air slashing away. Probably Chansey is the best way to go with it. It has Natural Cure, can't get away from the Thunder Wave. You could also go Snorlax too. But I would be very scared. Toxic's good too. I'd be very scared to switch in any guys who like Gengar or like Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd just dies anyway. Same with Dragonite. And then this is the classic Togekiss, 60% chance to flinch with his ability now, and Serene Grace, and he's paralyzed, so you even get less turns to play. So it's basically like you're stealing the controller from your brother when he's trying to play. Like, you just do not give him a chance. There's going to be like one time he does get away from you, but unfortunately, he could just keep doing it against Chansey, theoretically. But now Toxic makes it so he has a little bit of a timer here. So I expect maybe Togekiss to switch out. You don't want a Thunder Wave Chansey. There's no reason to. But if he switches out, could just get teleported on here, and the counter can then come into whatever Kyle switches in on. So David's actually in a really good spot here, as long as he doesn't get flinched. But it shouldn't matter. He can just wall off. He can just soft boil it eventually too. So unfortunately, yeah, he gets through, and now this thing's basically dead. Togekiss. You probably just sack it at this point, and then you can force a Infernape switch into Chansey, and then force David out. I would just sack the Togekiss here, and unfortunately, we have so many. We got. There's the Infernape coming in. So he's going for maybe gets the knockoff on the Evilite, which is big, but gets unfortunately paralyzed in the process, which is huge. Now Infernape can't really deal with Gengar, is what I was really hoping he would be able to do. And Venusaur is actually surprisingly fast too for a guy who's just going. But I don't know what you do. I think you have to stay in, try to kill Chansey, but he could just switch to Gengar here and try to block your fighting move, which would also be kind of scary. And then Gengar's just faster than your guy, and he I don't think he one-shots unless he has a... I don't think Shadow Ball one-shots Infernape, though, so it's an interesting choice that he could probably make here. What you could probably consider is you switch to Gengar, I think, and then you double switch to, like, I would say Dragonite, maybe, would be what I would do. But it's a tough call. David's got a lot of options here. That's why he's taking so long to think. Because he's like, well, do I stay into a fighting type or not? And, again, respect to these players. He teleports out. Could have been risky because he could have gotten full paralyzation, or he could have just gotten killed by the fighting move. You never know what was going to happen. So that teleport might not have even just happened in general. Unfortunately, the guy who wants to be in against Magnezone is switching out, but he could just go to Gengar here, which is fine. He probably has, I think he has Focus Blast, which does a lot of damage. Can miss, famously known as Focus Miss, but he's off the chain, so you know he's going to hit it. Gengar goes in, goes for the Focus Blast, hits it, couldn't be me right there. So unfortunately, we have a poisoned Togekiss, a paralyzed Infernape, so this makes it really tough. I believe Gengar is life orbed, so he can switch his moves. He does have a special wall in his Gastrodon. Could throw that in, threat with ground moves. I think that's a pretty safe maneuver. Here's the thing, Kyle's not that far out of the match because you have to consider that Farfetch is dead. Dragonite's going to take chunks of damage when he comes in, and yeah, he has to get through. Technically speaking, he has Infernape against Chansey, and it still outspeeds it, even though it's paralyzed. So, if Gastrodon can pick up a kill on, like, maybe try to get the Gengar out, and maybe, like, Ice Beams to Dragonite, theoretically, it has Ice Beam for Venusaur, but also the Grass move is faster, so he probably just dies the Venusaur. Again, threatening a ground move, I'd probably go... Ooh, Dragonite's such a risky move. If you know that he knows he's using a ground move, I think Chansey's just the easiest call. Chansey walls off this thing easily, and it doesn't care if it gets toxic that this Gastrodon does have. So I think if you're Kyle, you use Earth Power. If you're Mizuki, David, you stay in and or you go to Dragonite, or you go to Dragonite or Chansey is what I would probably do. You can also go Snorlax too. Snorlax has really good special bulk as well. Snorlax is so fucking good, man. I love that guy. Goes to Chansey, doesn't care about the rock damage, doesn't care about the earth power damage. That's, by the way, that is without the Evilite. Just noting that how special bulky Chansey is. It does not give a fuck about any special damage. With the Evilite, that might have did like 2%, maybe 3. It's so crazy. You can maybe go Seismic Toss here. You can't, obviously, Thunderwave. I'd probably just go for a teleport out. Take whatever hit it is. This is a really tough spot. You're seeing the value of switch moves, Parting Shot, Teleport, U-Turn, how instrumental they are to battling in singles. It's like the same thing as Protect and like Follow Me for doubles, is how powerful switching out moves are. I kind of think Teleport's on the more balanced side because it doesn't do anything besides just teleport you out. Flip Turn, U-Turn, Volt Switch, I think are a little bit more, and I guess Parting Shot in this case, a little bit more challenging to play around because they just do extra things besides doing the actual switching. So Close Combat could be coming in here, or I think it might have Mach Punch. I'm not sure. Fighting Move might come in here, so Gengar might be the safe switch. Honestly, if I'm Kyle, I maybe, oh, the crit, like it mattered at all. If I'm Kyle, I was like debating whether or not you switch on a knockoff, maybe to predict the switches. But again, I always tell new players the first thing I would do in tournaments, at least early on, is not to overpredict. Try not to overpredict. Don't get in your head yet. That's for later down the line when you're getting a little bit more comfortable. So nice play by Kyle, just going for the safe close combat. Could have gotten paralyzed, but glad he didn't to make this match a little bit more close. I think Gengar just comes in and just mauls now because he has a special defense drop. Shadow Ball kills maybe. Also slower than Bomb.com Tasty here because he has Paralyzed. That Paralyzed actually might be the difference maker because if Infernape wasn't paralyzed, I actually think Infernape checks. He checks Snorlax and Venusaur, and Farfetch'd is again dead to rocks. God, that paralyzation was fucking huge if you think about it. Probably goes to Gastrodon here if I'm thinking about it for Kyle. I think that's the only play you can do. Or you could just sack the... Oh, he gets the crit. Oh, that's nasty. Because he does not have recover on this Gastrodon, so any damage you do is permanent. Looking for an Ice Beam from Kyle here to threaten the Dragonite. Honestly, Ice Beam's really nice here. You go to Snorlax if you're David, probably to wall this off. Outrage is not going to kill. This Ice Beam does kill. That crit with the Earthquake probably doesn't matter now because you probably just go Venusaur here, and it would have killed no matter what with the Giga Drain. But what I would do with Kyle is you probably go Togekiss to take the Giga Drain. But the problem is, okay, you could also do this. I will say Gastrodon's special defense, not that bad. So if he did not get hit by that crit Earthquake, probably could have took a Shadow Ball from this thing, even though it's Life Orb, probably could have took it. Again, could just use Earth Power. I think it kills at this range. That's why that crit mattered a little bit there. So we'll see. Earth Power probably coming in. Shadow Ball probably coming in. Safe options from both. You could also go Sludge Bomb too. I'd probably go Sludge Bomb actually because it can maybe poison, even if you don't get the kill. And it's good against the rest of his team. But that works, yeah. So now Shadow Ball. I don't think Gengar's slower than anything. So the only thing you could probably do here is you go Infernape now. And then pray to God that your you get a Flare Blitz off. And you live the Shadow Ball here. I would just stay in if you're David. You do not want to switch and take more rock damage, and you don't want to take Flare Blitz on a thick fat Snorlax no matter what. It's still not great, even though he would resist it a little bit. And you obviously don't want to take it on Venusaur. So you just stay in here. You're going to just get some damage. It's off the chain. So let's just see if the Shadow Ball does come in. Togekiss is going to be nice there. He does live the Shadow Ball. Oh, the paralyzation coming back to bite him in the butt again. I'm telling you, that Chansey paralyzation play really was the pivotal moment in the match. If you had to pinpoint any point in the match where that could not have been a big deal, I think that was pivotal. Good play by David. Honestly, respectable plays by Kyle there too. Came back and had some good kills on the guys. Again, Farfetch'd is basically dead, so it's closer than you would think. And again, this Gengar is pretty close to dead too. So honestly, pretty good match by both these guys. I think anybody could have won that match, and I'm proud to see some at least showcase off what they have. So,
dude, Kyle, you got so robbed. You got so fucking robbed. Those the unlucky crits, man. Oh, that was a good match.
Crit me too.
Save it.
That was a good match.
I crit you like once when it mattered.
You crit me twice in a row.
Yeah, but what did I get for?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about the crit close combat on your Chansey?
I mean, it still would have died anyway, but
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it didn't really matter.
Wait. Oh no. By the crit, Kyle. To be fair to his crits, Zach's crit or David's crits, he does have an item that specifically boosts crits. So.
Yes, that's true.
It's far-fetched.
Well, if I would have known that, I would have not fought David. I would have had you change it. And then he could have just used that on someone else.
Karl versus Chandler.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I knew this had to be a matchup was Karl and Chandler's pre-battle banter, where they're all like, "I love you," or they tried to draft each other. I had to put the Twilight matchup in here.
I think people would expect me to rank Gen 3 higher than I actually did. There is some problems I have with Gen 3 in comparison to other generations. It's got a large pool to pick from, but I feel like the Pokemon have stagnated a little bit. They still were solid after Gen 3 was released, and a little bit they were still Kings, Salamence, Metagross, and Swampert were still pretty good. They obviously got Megas in Gen 6, Swampert, Salamence, and Metagross, but they didn't get much love after that, and we can't use Megas right now. Chandler still made a solid team here, but I want to make two specific notes that I think are critical for analyzing Chandler's team. Number one is he doesn't have a single special move at all. And he does hit hard on a lot of his physical attackers, but the problem is if he runs into a strong physical wall, and in this tournament there are quite a few on different teams that I think could wall off Chandler pretty well, so he has to come up with some other way to get around those guys, and he has to be pretty savvy about it, because they are going to be very difficult to push through. He does have Shedinja, and if he doesn't rapid spin away the rocks or spikes that a couple of our users are bringing to the tournament, and there's Sandstream from T-Tar, it's going to be an insta-kill without even getting attacked and proccing his Wonder Guard. So that's two things that I think Chandler has to really be focused on, and us as viewers and commentators, we have to be aware of as well. That he has to do a lot of maneuvering to protect that guy and Almaldo at the same time. Besides that, Chandler, like I said, hits very hard. Metagross just trucks things. Salamence is the only choice Scarfer, I believe, in the tournament. And with Moxie, sweeping is potentially real, even though he'd be locked into one move. Salamence is very quick, does a lot of damage, so that's something that if he brings him into the late game rounds of a match, he can also potentially sweep off that. Swampert's there for utility with the Stealth Rock and Roar. Also flip turn so he can soak hits for his teammates and then get out so he can maybe take a hit for that Shedinja, for example. And like I said, Armaldo is bringing the Rapid Spin. It just does damage on the side, which is really nice. Breloom brings Spore utility, and Technician, Bullet Seed, Rock Tomb, and Mach Punch are pretty respectable sources of damage. Like I said, the utility on having a priority move is always very important. And I think Chandler's team is solid. It's just those notes, I will say, are stuff we have to be aware of. He does do a lot of damage, and I can't wait to see how he maneuvers with his team. So congrats, Chandler, and welcome to the tournament, man. Gen 9, which might be the wildest gen. Just like Gen 6, 7, and 8, I kind of had to limit Gen 9 a little bit because it's a pretty strong gen, but again, the mechanics and gimmicks in it also make it just pretty strong. Paradox Pokemon have been removed, just like Ultra Beast. I think their stats are just a little too high to compete, and I just want the players to kind of be at a little bit more of a level playing field, and I think Paradox is already too strong. And I think you can get better Gen 9 Pokemon without them to balance the playing field anyway. Now, Gen 9 is a scary gen. In terms of tier listing this gen, I think it's very strong. One of the things that makes it so strong is it feels like every Pokemon has a unique ability or a unique move. I'll give you an example besides the guys here. For instance, every starter has a unique move. It feels like every time you go into Gen 9 battle, you always have to look and see what's going on, and you might not be able to predict it even if you're comfortable battling in other gens. This gen throws you a wild card that you're not expecting. For instance, we'll go over each 6 real quickly. Let's save King Gambit for last. Let's start with Tinkaton, has Gigaton Hammer, does damage you can't use it every turn, but it does like 185 base power move. Insane. But on Tinkaton, it's not that scary. Garganacl, for instance, takes less damage from ghost types, and does a move that does extra damage to water and steel every turn. Insult Cure, and can't be status. Clodsire's kind of normal, but he has Unaware or Water Absorb. Pretty strong tank right there. Goldango is a nightmare in Gen 9. Literally warps the meta around him. This string cheese piece of shit, as good as gold, gonna be golden. Makes It Rain is a unique move that just does a fuckload of damage. And good as gold, like I said, can't have default, can't be status. Already has really good typing and Ghost Steel. Insane. Torch Song on Skeledirge just gets his special attack boosted every time he clicks the button. Also really strong, so once he starts going, you gotta stop him very quickly. And then last but not least, King Gambit just gets a damage boost every time one of his friends dies. And then you can make it a mind game of 50-50 of sucker punching before anybody goes. Swords Dance, Sucker Punch. You just one-shot everybody, so it becomes just a game of literally, ironically, chess. Not really, but 50-50 coin flip. You change from chess to coin flipping, which is fun. It's just King Gambling instead. But the big thing about Karl's team is he is very weak to ground, which is why he has 8 air balloons on his team. So that's really funny. Goldango, Garganackle, Tinkaton, King Gambit. Every Pokemon, actually, never mind. I don't know why I'm going to list them all, are weak to ground. So he has a bunch of air balloons, and he's got to make sure that he avoids ground moves in any capacity, or a strong ground type, where he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But Gen 9 is dangerous.
You want to introduce Chandler, Chris, or Zach?
Yeah, I'll introduce Chandler.
Better. Yeah.
This is my boy Chandler. I've known Chandler for 26 years or something like that. He's my best friend. If you're mean to him, I'll ban your ass from the Discord and Twitch so fucking fast.
Hell
your
yeah.
ass won't even hit the floor. Also, he sucks and I hate him. Bye.
Nice.
Again, whenever I put on, it's going to be such an annoying thing because there's so many mechanics and gimmicks here that you kind of have to just know the Pokemon and know what's going on, besides just knowing basic Pokemon. You have to know an extra step further. So Swampert comes in. This thing is a utility Swampert, has Rocks, has Roar, can still do damage to Mr. Torch Song. So I think Karl's still going to run away here. But he might just go for Rocks here. It's probably the safest play. Maybe you can still Rocks in front of Goldango, but you can't defog him or anything. So that's really nice. It doesn't have Magic Bounce. It's close to Magic Bounce, but not as good as Magic Bounce, in my opinion. So brings in Goldango. The Cheese Man himself. Also, look at that sprite. He's riding a goddamn fucking surfboard. I don't know what the hell is going on. Thunderbolt's a Swampert here. Stop. Don't. Interesting plays right there. It's a little unfortunate, but maybe he thought, he might have switched. Okay, so we can't get in the minds of other players. Might have thought first switch was coming out. Flip turns out, breaks the balloon critically now, so it's weak to ground. Goes for Almaldo. I think this thing's carrying EQ, but this thing also has Rapid Spin, X Scissor. He needs Rapid Spin on this Pokemon, or else, his Shedinja can't get to play at all. So, this thing has X Scissor. I don't know, unless I believe it has Earthquake. Karl has 8 different fucking balloons, though, so he could just switch out to whichever one he wants. Probably Garganackle, but also Make It Rain does so much damage. That's another thing. Besides just everything I told you about Goldango before the match, it has a unique move on top of it. So, Make It Rain, lowers your special attack. It's like an overheat for Steel type, which is pretty fucking good, turns out. And it has respectable special attack damage. So goes to Skeledirge, switching a Ghost type into a Ghost type, probably thinking he wants the Fire move against it. Chandler has Will-O-Wisp, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance, and I think maybe Protect, X Scissor. He's changed the set a little bit, so that's why it's confusing me. It might be Shadow Sneak. Probably going for a Torch Song. That's what I would almost always do. Boost your special attack. Gets a crit too, which is kind of nasty. This thing has Unaware too, Skeledirge, so also kind of annoying here. Dies Sword Earthquake probably at this range from Swamp. Also a Flip Turn also does nasty damage. I don't think Flip Turn will kill though, so if you wanted to maybe risk it and go for a Slack Off, you might be able to do that. Again, Torch Song is so devastating because if you switch against Skeledirge and it gets a Torch Song off, you basically still lose tempo on it, which is really annoying. Roars out this, brings in King Gambit. King Gambit does not want to be out this early. Gets damage when Pokemon are dead on your team. Nothing is dead on Karl's team. Goldango's dead inside, but that doesn't really count. King Gambit does not want to face an Earthquake. Very slow. This is not a good matchup for Karl. Does not want to stay in here. Unfortunate roar target there. Honestly, if you're Chandler, you can probably just keep roaring into the rocks. Not a bad play. Might bring in Goldango here to counter that. Yeah, you got to Earthquake. Don't overpredict on King Gambit. I respect it. Again, Karl with that many different balloons is very frustrating to verse until all the balloons are popped. Then the Earthquakes are very dangerous for Karl. All of his Pokemon notably weak to ground type. So you got to pop the balloons. It's like Up, the movie, before the old man gets up in the air. Gets the Wonder Guard off on a Gigaton Hammer. Nice switch by Chandler to get a Pokemon in that's hard to switch in. Finding moments like that to switch him in is very pivotal. Now he knows, if you have open team sheets, that he does not have a damaging move against Chandler. You can also go for a Will-O-Wisp. Misses the Thunder Wave, hits the Will-O-Wisp. Battle of the statuses that have around 90%. One's 85, one's 90. Now this Tinkaton doesn't do too much damage anymore. It already didn't do that much damage. Gigaton Hammer does great, but Tinkaton's attack is not that good. Really unfortunate for Karl. Maybe we could have predicted the Will-O-Wisp with Gargonackle is what you might have been able to do. Gets the rocks up. Gonna be facing a Swords Dance right there. Shadow Sneak is a move that can happen as well against Karl's team. Shadow Sneak kind of gets walled off by King Gambit, and it can Sucker Punch too. So here's the choice. He lost Armaldo, so Chandler's probably just gonna stay in until this thing's dead. Resists the Ghost moves. Really good move by Gargonackle switch here, because Gargonackle has Purifying Salt, resist Ghost move. Every Pokemon in Gen 9 has some bullshit ability. Welcome to Gen 9. He can't be status, and he resists gold moves or Ghost moves, and he has a unique move himself in Purifying Salt, which is that his ability, or is, I don't know which one's his ability and which one's the move. Goes for the Salt Cure. That's the move. Purifying Salt is his ability. Salt Cure is the move. That just does like damage over time. It would actually one-shot Shedinja because he gets hit by the ability and then the residue damage. Does extra damage against steel types and water types. So now he just dies to Salt Cure. I hear a faint fuck in the background. I thought it was somebody unmuted, but it's not. I think it's Zach's background. Anyway, yeah. You can't burn or status Gargonackle here, so very dangerous. Salt Curing this thing would actually be pretty annoying too, but he probably just is going to water. He's probably just going to flip turn out anyway, so I don't think it'll do that much damage. I think if you're Karl, you stay in. I think flip turn's not that scary for you. Even an Earthquake's not that scary. You theoretically could go back to like Tinkaton. I think you would just switch Tinkaton because it's kind of worthless. It's burned anyway. Yeah, that's a good switch. Good switch. But it's also got a balloon. It doesn't matter if it takes damage. You can basically use burned Pokemon. Oh, he stole his leftovers. Actually, funny enough too. Might come back in the late stages of this match to be a big thing. But for now, it's just kind of fun. Tinkaton's not going to do much damage against this Metagross. Metagross does not have any setup moves though. So luckily for Karl, that I think you just sack Tinkaton here. That's a good thing about Pokemon that are not technically dead. You can always use them for regaining tempo. Something vital that I think players need to learn is when a Pokemon's dead or when you need to sack them to get a good switch in on this. I would probably just let Metagross kill you here. As long as it doesn't have any setup moves, you're safe to do that. And I don't believe Metagross does, which is really nice. If it has setup, then you probably switch and try to get something in immediately. Again, also having Tinkaton dead helps King Gambit. That's another thing with Karl's team too. Getting the paralysis is so fucking good as well. Just another extra turns for, even though Metagross is already slow, extra turns for him to not do any attacks or any moves at all is just so nice. Probably gonna bring in, if I had to guess, Gargonackle. It does have EQ, but if you do that, then you risk the chance of Salamence coming in. I still think you go Gargonackle, and then maybe what you do is Salt Cure. I don't think you bring King Gambit in yet. You could also go Torch Song, Skeledirge, but you don't like taking the rock damage. Goldengo is the worst person I'd probably bring in here, because at best you Thunderbolt. I guess you wall off the Meteor Mash, but you don't want to take an Earthquake still. Very skeptical move. I don't know if he has any more balloons left though, so he doesn't want to take an EQ on anybody anymore. But I don't think I don't think Goldengo kills this, so unless he gets a paralysis chance, I think Metagross always kills here. I think you bring in... Okay, switches out. T-Bolt... Shadow Ball's going to do a nice damage. However, okay, so thing to note about this Salvence is it's the only Scarf Pokemon in our tournament, which means it basically outspeeds anything that's not a priority move. Now, what move Chandler picks is actually pivotal here. If he has EQ, which, again, I'm sorry, I don't know the entire sets every time. Yes, so now he can just EQ his entire team. Brilliant. Now, here's the thing. I bring in you have to bring in only one person here. It has to be King Gambit. Nobody else. If Karl remembers that he's Scarf, it has to be King Gambit. You have to threaten the Sucker Punch. It's the only way to deal with Ments now. Only way. You have to bring in, if he brings in anybody that's not King Gambit, it is a misplay. You have to threaten this thing with, it has to attack, it's got Scarf, or switch out. And you have to bring in King Gambit and threaten with the Sucker Punch. Karl's thinking, lamenting, what does he do? I wish I could see the camera a little bit better. Ghost Skeledirge, that is not the right play. Sacking a guy just for content. Flannery throwing her own Pokemon to the grave right here. I guess it's a ghost type anyway, so it might want to be dead anyway. Dies to another Earthquake. Maybe he's trying to power up his King Gambit. Maybe that's the play right here. Critical plays. Again, you got to go King Gambit. Earthquake's going to destroy your entire team. Goes King Gambit, threatens the Sucker Punch, has Supreme Overlord. Again, maybe he was trying to get the extra damage from Supreme Overlord. Again, once your Pokemon is dead, you get an extra damage source. I would maybe have switched out if your channel, you know he has to go Sucker Punch there. Probably goes back to Swamp. Now, this is the mind game of King Gambit. Does he Swords Dance? Does he Sucker Punch? Who the fuck knows? Welcome to King Gambling. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Does he Sucker Punch here? Does a lot of damage. I think he could, but I don't know what he's going to do. It's a 50-50. I think you go to Clodsire here, actually, if you're Karl. Goes to the Sucker Punch, gonna eat a Roar. That also works too. Goes Clodsire. Clodsire can Toxic anything. He does not have Poison Heal on his Breloom, but he can't poison the Metagross. Maybe you go Metagross here. Clodsire might be able to wall off the rest of Karl's or his team, besides the Earthquakes, which is a notable thing. Yeah, but he does recover, so Metagross probably kills him. I don't think the Earthquakes from Swampert do as much damage. You cannot flip turn a Water Absorb, unfortunately. I don't know if Karl was expecting... Hold on. Karl might have been expecting a switch to Metagross there. Honestly, not a bad play. Also might not have known that the flip turn does not go through if you hit a Water Absorb. Honestly, Karl played that really right. I think he was going to go to Metagross. He probably thought he was going to use a poison move. I'm going to give Karl credit on that one. And now it becomes interesting, because do you go Metagross thinking he's going to Earthquake again? No, you go Breloom because they're resisting the Earthquake. Goes for the Toxic. Again, this is not a Poison Heal Toxic, so that is going to actually start killing it. You go probably Gambit here, but you don't want to eat the Mach Punch either. This is really interesting. This Breloom actually shits on the rest of his team. I think you just recover here. I think you have to recover, because if you go King Gambit, you eat the Mach Punch, you die. And if you recover... you might be able to stall out a Seed Bomb. You probably die to one Seed Bomb, though, or Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed probably kills here. So you go Garganacl, same thing. I think Bullet Seed still kills. Yeah. It doesn't have loaded dice. It only hits twice. If you have loaded dice, you hit 3 or 5 times. You up your times that you hit. Does not have that. Has something else here. Goes for the Mach Punch right there. This is going to get really interesting. Now with Fallen... and the Toxic damage, I believe a Sucker Punch kills, because you have just so much damage, even though Breloom resists it. This is going to come down to how every King Gambit works, that you get down to King Gambit 1v1 or 3v1, and what happens? I think you switch if you're Chandler, go to Metagross, but you're still in a tough spot. This is why King Gambit's so strong. I think you're seeing it right now in action. If you do not have a wall for this guy, which Chandler's wall, which Armaldo... kind of died a little bit early. Goes for the Sucker Punch. Gets the Spore. Oh, yes. Now, does he wake up in one turn? Now he can go for Mach Punch. Critical Spore right there. Forget it carries the Spore. He has the Spore. Yes. Move seats are available. The Spore is an ultimate counter to King Gambit right there. stops him. I forgot. I could have been a good commentator and commentated on that if I had known he has the spore. Good play by Chandler. Probably goes to Clodsire to eat the Mach Punch here, but if he predicts that with the Bullet Seed, that would be kind of clutch. This is going to get really interesting really fast. This might come down to a Paralysis proc on Metagross, actually. Ironically, the Metagross Paralysis proc is what I'm actually looking at now, because what you do is recover on Clodsire. I don't think it kills the Bullet Seed. At least you die. The crit makes a big difference there, actually. Yep. I would have recovered on Karl, though, because you know you're taking damage. You want to stay in. This is really interesting. Is Metagross going to get Paralysis? That's a big question. Also, has Earthquake on Swamp. You have to stay in with Clodsire. If it didn't take that crit, if it recovered, I think it could have taken an Earthquake, legitimately. So if he recovered, could have taken the Earthquake. Now he can't. He has to stay in. It's going to come down to 50-50 with the... Oh, my God. What do you do now? Do you wake... You have to go for Sucker Punch, wake up, and just hope that you wake up if you're Karl. I think 2 Earthquakes are going to need another chance at attacking. He has no way to kill it. He has to attack, so you have to attack into the Sucker Punch. You have the Sucker Punch if you're Karl. I think this kills. Went for a Sucker Punch, obviously. Goes for Flip Turn. I think you Earthquake there. I really think you're fucking Earthquake there. Because I think Sucker Punch kills because it one-shots Metagross. Because Steel doesn't resist it. Now it's dead. Oh, no! Paralysis proc! We talked about this! Oh my fucking god. Just wakes up! Sucker Punches! No! Punch! Karl! No! No! And Chandler wins the match! We're back at it!
Holy shit. That was an incredible match.
Good job. Good match. I knew that Paralysis proc was gonna make it a little froggy, and it did.
Oh my god! Oh
Were
my
you
god!
mad that I didn't Sucker Punch?
Yes.
That was
No, I was.
laughing?
No.
I thought I was gonna still be asleep. I thought sleep was 3 turns.
No, that's not how it works. It's random chance from 1 to 3.
Oh, okay.
It increases every time you're asleep of waking up. So you were on like your 3rd temp. You were guaranteed to like wake up basically there. Oh,
okay.
You had it. If you Sucker Punch, you kill, and I can kill.
But if I kill, I don't think I killed the. I don't think I killed the Swampert anyway.
You're wrong.
And next, it's Elise's first match of the tournament. Wes's second.
Let's go.
Gen 2 v Gen 5.
There was an award for a team that tilts me the most. Elise's team from Gen 5 would absolutely take it. There's a lot of frustratingly annoying Pokemon to deal with in this generation, and they've only gotten better and better, or have stayed basically as relevant as they previously were, and that just goes to show you how well designed they were. I had Gen 5 as my top pick in this tournament, and Elise chose it pretty early. A lot of it, like I said, Pokemon have either gotten better since they've been in Gen 5 or remain as strong as they were since Gen 5. For example, Superior got Contrary, picked up that. Alomola got much stronger relevantly, and we'll talk about that in a brief second here. But basically, there is footage of me visibly getting upset on YouTube somewhere. Hopefully it's not from my channel, of me versing Volcarona and Ferrothorn since the beginning of time. Maybe Excadrill you could throw in there too. And if I also had to sum up Elise's team, is holy setup. You have Contrary setup with special attack being boosted every time you use Leaf Storm. It boosts your attack or special attack as opposed to lowering it. You have Excadrill with rapid Swords Dance. You have Hydreigon with Nasty Plot. You have Quiver Dance on Volcarona. So basically, all of Elise's damage threats can boost themselves even stronger. So if you make a wrong switch against Elise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. She also has a Flare Thorn to just kind of absorb a lot of damage, set up rocks, be annoying with Leech Seed, Iron Barbs, etc., etc. But the most frustrating and the Pokemon that really helps the most is Alomola, because Alomola, I can't say this name, but Wish can heal your teammates with Flip Turn, and then you can maneuver in and out. So they can try to see if they can go for a setup. If they take damage, doesn't work, they can Elise can always pull them back out, switch a counter back in, heal them up, and with the Regenerator, keep them healthy. And I think that's going to be very dangerous. So Elise is going to be a very, very, very challenging opponent to verse in this tournament. I look forward to seeing what people can do. And when you have setup moves, you're always going to be worried in the back of your mind that they could set up. So sometimes you don't want to switch and sometimes you just want to attack them. But you always have that risk factor in your head. And I think that's really scary to be versing for Elise, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Gen 5. I'll just flat out say it. A bastard team. A bastard team. That means Elise made a good team. Starts with the Typhlosion against have to force a switch out here. Goes for the Eruption. Immediately has the Sash so he can live. Goes for a Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is pretty good against Wes's team, but not pivotal. He's got 2 steel types and are like... Honestly, oh my god, so much damage to the low Momoa. Holy shit, Wes. Wes just keeps going for it. He has to. What is he going to do? What's she going to do? He's going to keep going for the Eruption. Okay. Okay. Kills him all Momoa immediately. When I predicted it was going to be one of the biggest things. Choice Specs Typhlosion. I think you just go for it again. Why not? Because if it quivers, you still go for it. Oh my god, the full power Eruption. Just devastating. Just devastating. Oh my god, like, I cannot believe that did that much damage to that. Look at this, one shot. What? Just clicking the same button over and over again. Oh my god. Oh my god. This resisted though, so we at least get to see a turn from Elise. She's gonna maybe sub, or I don't know anymore. It doesn't have Earth Power, it has Dragon Pulse and Dark Pulse, both pulse moves. Jeez, I think it has Nasty Plot too. I think you go to Slow King here. I think, but even if it takes the Dark Pulse, that's not great. I think you attack if you're West. I think you still attack because you don't sub. You can't let it sub. You can't let him sub. So you have to attack here. Oh my god, that Eruption, full power Eruption Choice Specs did a lot more damage to the Pinkfish than I thought it would do. I thought that thing would be at least able to take 2 of them, but it's probably physically bulky spec for Elise, which makes a lot of sense. I guess maybe your other play might be having Reschedule, but I think it's slower or comparable to Typhlosion. Superior might not be faster either, and like again, you don't want to bring Superior into it, so like, oh man, that's crazy. I think the speed tie on Volcarona was pretty close too. It might have been close. Goes for the Draco Meteor. Okay. Oh, it's not Pulse. It's Draco Meteor. So now this is really interesting. Going for rocks, throwing on the switch. Would be very interesting as well. Subs up. Ice punches. Good. Good play. You know, if whenever there's sub, I think listen to pre-stream. If you're versing Elise, a lot of times you want to attack, even though it sounds a little risky, because you never know if Elise is gonna sub or set up. You got to risk that. Goes for the Ice Punch probably again. No freeze. Okay, good, because I don't want to freeze to kind of ruin this match. I want it to be closer. Maybe goes for an EQ here. You probably can go Skarmory. Skarmory walls off anything that Reschedule wants to do. It has Iron Head and Earthquake. Nothing that Skarmory like is scared about at all, and a Rapid Spin. So you probably go Skarm here. You can also body press the rest of can also body press the rest of Elise's team. So Iron Defense on Skarmory too to catch up with the Swords Dance right here. There's no way an Iron Head does like any respectable damage to Skarmory here. So the flinch is what we're really paying attention to. Yep, there's the flinch. That is a way out technically for Elise. Iron Head damage is Iron Flinch with 30% is a real thing, but body presses gets the kill. Pretty still good damage to Skarmory. Probably go to Superior is probably the only move you have here, and just hope that you could do this. You could go Dark Pulse or Draco Meteor. You probably Dark Pulse. I think you sub up if you're Elise. You body press if you're Wes. That way he doesn't sub. You keep Elise honest. Make sure she has to attack here. I think body press kills Hydra Apple here, which is T-Tar does wall this off. Special wall T-Tar with the Assault Vest. In your Sandstream, you get a boosted special defense. I really like this move by Wes. Knowing that this Draco Meteor isn't going to do too much damage, well, it actually did a lot more than I thought. Sandstream definitely saving Wes there. with the nasty plot damage, that's where that damage difference throws right there. Barney tanking the damage still with a 2+ is kind of crazy. Sacrifice Barney here. That's what I would do. And then you have Scissor with the bullet punch. I think this is pretty close to being a good match for Wes here. I'm mixing up the names. Interesting. Sandstream hurting Hydreigon a little bit here. Probably have to switch to Ferrothorn just to get the boosted damage out. Gonna go Clamps. Gonna go Bullet Punch. I think you go to Ferrothorn, take the Bullet Punch on that instead, then go Superior, because this is a banded Bullet Punch. So if you get Wes going to Bullet Punch, actually, you know, the high-level move by Wes would be using X-Scissor or your Bug move, so you can just stay in permanently and then kill the rest of Elise's team. Understand why you would want to go for Technician Bullet Punch. It's always like a safe option. It kills the rest of Elise's team. It two-shots the rest of Elise's team. It doesn't one-shot. I don't think it one-shots the Superior in the back there. I think it comes close. I think it'll be very close. We'll see. So I think it'll bring it down to like 8% is what I'm guessing. I'm guessing 8. Actually, maybe 12. I'm going to go 12. 12. That's the number I've decided on. You do not... Yeah. 38. Okay. Leaf Storm misses. 90% accuracy miss. They would have resisted it, but missed. Wow. Just to rub more insult into the wound. Typhlosion absolutely being a demon there.
GG.
Did not expect the damage. Oh my god.
Yeah, that Typhlosion just immediately, like... Eruption.
Choice Specs could not. Eruption does damage based off your max AP. Choice Specs just stab, just so much damage.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you know the crazy part. Wes said before this tournament, "Hey, do you think I need a special attacker?" I'm like, "Yeah, you might."
Yeah, what do I even do about
you might want one.
Like...
Wes had who were you gonna have instead, Wes? Before Typhlosion was there?
Gligar.
Yeah, Gligar with Evoid. Yeah, Gligar's good.
Oh,
so that at least literally that game came down to, I was like, okay, if Elise sends out Alomomola first with this choice, I'm fucked. Anything else, I was like, I feel like I'm good.
Most of David's team right here, I think you gotta have good Tarky, Stone Edges, both flyers. He Stone Edges Chansey, so I'm excited to see what happens here. We're at Flavortown, the first time we've seen him. Welcome, sir. Welcome. How you doing, Flavortown? Can Meganium stew, perhaps? We'll see what happens. See right there. Heat Crash doesn't do as much damage as I thought. Meganium is a little bit more on the bulky side for a starter, I suppose, I would say. Leech Seed obviously resorbs that damage back. Going for the T-Tar, resist Heat Crash. I like it a lot. Jake going in. Jake, I've been very impressed with the switches here for Jake so far, all right? Maybe going for Stone Edge. I would perhaps like to see out of Jake. It hits all of his Pokemon hard. Nobody resists Stone Edge on David's team. You know it's a good move. Whenever you see like a move that just hits everybody solid, usually I like the pick. Stone Edge is going to really hurt here. Goes for the Hone Claws instead. I don't hate it. Make sure your Stone Edges don't miss. And now you're ready to sweep, I guess. But Venusaur Giga Drain goes first, so he will still take the Stone Edge damage. Giga Drain does not kill in the Storm either. Maybe going for a Toxic on Venusaur, though. So I don't really like T-Tar getting Toxic, though, either. But this is probably one of David's best answers. Oh, he switches. Take the Stone Edge, but you at least get this. You hit this guy. I don't know if I don't know or not with the crit. You probably kill with a crit, but I don't know if you crit. Anyway, Thick Fat Snorlax with the high special defense comes in to body slam. Gets the counter! The counter onto Typhlosion, onto the Snorlax there. I like it a lot. The counter Typhlosion, something you don't see every day. Maybe not any year. Burn, maybe? Oh, gets the rest. Oh! Jake, again, comes close to those low edges of HP, but does not finalize the kill. Unfortunate, doesn't get the burn. Maybe would have, probably wouldn't still killed because obviously he would have rested off the burn. So close to killing it. Suckin coming in. Octuri goes for the Toxic. You cannot Toxic a sweeping Pokemon. Also has Rest, so even if he was not Toxic, he would be able to rest off the Toxic here. Not a real answer to the Snorlax. Got to come up with something else. Liquidation could lower its defense, I guess, right here. Does lower the defense on commentator Goat right there. Gets the crit on the body slam and the paralysis. Come on, man. Jake catch a fucking break, man. Oh my god. Sleep Talk 2 gets the right move through the Sleep Talk as well, so he could have gotten rest again. Oh my god. And uses the body slam, gets the paralysis. Yeah, why not? Throw more bullshit towards Jake. Oh my god, holy shit. Gets another paralysis. Oh, not that one though. Okay. This is crazy. Crazy. I would have probably CD Crash lives with 1 HP. Okay. Again, oh, he misses the lead. Why? It wouldn't have mattered. Just give him the leech, dude. It wouldn't have mattered. Goes to T-Tar. I think now you hone calls and just stay in, Jake. Stay in. T-Tar is the man. He is the plan. Stay. Stay. Don't outrage. No. Now you're locked in with him. It's the only thing that, like, now you're locked in. You have to take the Giga Drain now. Stone Edge. It is not a stab move, the outrage. Not the optimal move right there. He's a big pine cone, but even that gets hit by some seeds and some grass and some flowers and some shit. I don't know how botany biologist. I know what I said. Just let me cook. Anyway, what we have, Party with the Havarti, probably going for the Giga Drain here again. He lives another outrage. Even, actually, I think you still sack the fucking Venusaur. Who cares? Gets the Giga Drain there if he lives this. Oh! Jake, again. Oh, he dies to the Sandstream. Okay, we're back. We're back. Oh my god, okay. But now he's confused, and his best answer to the rest of his team is now mortally wounded, Big Pine Cone. So, a little scary. Again, I really wanted to see T-Tar kind of take Farfetch'd and Dragonite on a little bit, and would have killed Chansey, and probably could have resisted all of Gengar's move. Focus Blast could have missed. That's why it's your best answer still. So now what do? You probably bring in Snorlax here, in my opinion, because why not? Dragonite is also fine. You have Marvel Scale. So I think you just go for Ice Spinner. Yeah, that's fair. It's faster. Ice Spinner's good against... honestly, you could just stay in with Dragonite and Ice Spinner the rest of the team here, because it's not a bulky Umbreon. Brings in Umbreon Mysterious coming in. Notably only has dark moves. It's very mysterious. Probably could bring in like Snorlax, Chansey if you really didn't want to. Outrage does a lot of damage. If this is a bulky Umbreon, it does a lot more. Foul Play does damage based off your attack, which is the correct move to go against Dragonite. Also works on Farfetch'd and Snorlax. Makes you wonder how close this match could have been with some other choices made, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to lament right now. We got to commentate what's going on. The Outrage does kill the Umbreon. I believe he carries Ice Beam on his Octillery. It does not matter. It's paralyzed and wounded to Kingdom Come. So this is going to come down to the Porygon 2. That even if it were to somehow carry all the way through, every single one of these Pokemon would get walled off by Gengar. So that's a little unfortunate, but we're going to believe, because Gengar is going to kill itself with struggle eventually here. Oh, Jay, come on. Oh, wait, Zen Headbutt. I forgot he has that. Yes! We're back in! I forgot he switched to Zen Headbutt because I thought he had Barrier still. He does not get walled off. Protect. Okay. He can Focus Miss. He has to use Zen Headbutt now. Focus Blast can... Okay. Tanky. Porygon 2. Doesn't miss the Zen Headbutt. Curse Body. The Zen Headbutt. It does not matter. Pain Split. If he Pain Splits... Oh, please... Okay. Kills with the crit. Leaf Blade right there. Okay. Oh, so close. The Zen headbutt play. All right. And we're back. I'm so glad he had Zen headbutt, though.
That was hype as fuck. Pulling out the Zen headbutt. I genuinely was like,
I did not.
I thought he
had the Zen headbutt.
I thought he had barrier. I forgot he had barrier originally. That's why. So I forgot. So, David is now the new member of Save Data team, who is the luckiest member of Save Data. Oh my god! I don't know how much that actually mattered, but holy shit!
I thought you were just gonna say he's the new member of Save
paralysis.
Data team.
Okay, I messaged him. Okay. I told him pause. Okay. All right. So, Skeledirge, again, if you saw Typhlosion, you're like, wow, why can't I do that with fire moves? Now, Elise now knows to go Hydreigon, though. So that's a little Karl, because now she knows to have the right switch in onto that. And obviously, Dark type and Dragon type resist all of Skeledirge's moves, but that's the impact of having different matches play out. So now, Karl doesn't want to get just subbed on and nasty plotted, so this is really already a bad spot for Karl. I think, I don't know. It has unaware Skeledirge, so you stay in and like you can't Earth Power because that has Levitate. I think you might Torch Song, so you break the sub. She's just gonna sub. I think she Draco Meteors. That's pretty good damage. Pops the balloon. Okay. I think Salt Cure is still really good here. No matter what, you're Salt Curing something you want to Salt Cure. So you live the Draco Meteor now with the half attack, which is really nice too. So I think this is a good Salt Cure turn. I think if Elise, you might be able to sub. But I think Salt Cure breaks the sub. But you can still just keep subbing a little bit if you really want to, if you're not sure what you want to do. You can also go to Excadrill, which is kind of risky. Salt Cure is not appreciated, but goes to the Ice Punch instead. I understand why. It's a dragon. Both are pretty good options. EQ is a real thing here, but I think if you're Elise, you Swords Dance because he's expecting you to EQ. I think you Swords Dance and you get ready to sweep, and then you can pop balloons with Iron Head, and you know Karl's team is all wound, so it's something you really are interested in. So I think you for sure. This is a difficult play. I think both people have a lot of mind games here. You can expect Quake. I'm really worried that this is just a Swords Dance here. Yep. And then what happened, Iron Head the balloon off, and I think 2 Shadow Balls. I'm not sure if it kills. This is really going to be close. You have Dazzling Gleam too, so you have the Shadow Ball here. Iron Head breaks it. Flinch could be a real here too. Does not get the flinch. 2 Shadow Balls. Aaron going to be devastatingly good. I don't know if how Karl gets past this now, because I believe Excadrill is faster than a lot of his Pokemon. You probably go back to King Gambit. That's scary, because then Elise could just Swords Dance it. This is really close. This is going to be kind of weird. I don't know if Karl sees that. The leftovers also making maybe a little bit of a difference too. I don't know what you do. Tinkaton with the balloon might be your answer too. An Iron Head probably kills the 2 times attack. I think it's Tinkaton or King Gambit here. And Elise can just stay in, sack Excadrill now, even though you like Excadrill against the rest of his team. This is an easy Earthquake. Easy Earthquake. I still think you keep Garganacl alive. I think this is a little unfortunate. I think you have to go King Gambit here. Garganacl is just dying for King Gambit damage. And now the problem is you get more leftovers for Sucker Punch. It becomes a little bit more sketchy. I think Sucker Punch easily still kills here. So you throw King Gambit in because Dark doesn't resist, or Steel doesn't resist Dark. Yeah, this is probably the correct play in the first one. It's okay. Garganacl did get chunked out, so I like Garganacl against a couple of the other guys with the Salt Cure, but I guess if you don't really need them. Faster gets the Gigaton Hammer, really nice. So you would have been able to block off the Earthquake, so now you can't use Gigaton Hammer. You don't want to get Thunder Waved either. Thunder Wave on Volcarona or Veronica would be kind of sketch. I don't know if you do this. Also, you can Encore into Dance too. This is kind of a weird place to be in. Encore on Tinkaton seems to be a good answer to a lot of Elise's Pokemon here. I think you just attack your Elise. Don't greed for the Quiver. I do not think you greed here. This is interesting too. Quivers. Ooh. Very risky move. The one good news is Skeledirge does have Unaware, so you do resist this. Bug Buzz does resist. Yeah, this is a good answer. Torch Song does do a lot of damage. Answer. Torch Songing doesn't have the Excadrill. This is actually really interesting now. Torch Song does do good damage. I think Torch Song might kill a 2+ special attack. I think you stay in Torch Song. This is where it gets scary. Another fire type up against Elise. You gotta stay in if you're Karl. Do not fear the water move. Stay in, Karl. Stay in. Elise maybe protects. I don't know. Tries to scout if he's gonna stay in. At the same time, I'm not sure what Elise's best answer is in here. I think you just have to go. Ooh, I mean, Elise is in a rough spot. She maybe sacks Alphonse here, then goes to her dragon. But even then, 3+ special attack is not great to do. Does not die, gets flip turned. Skull does decent damage. That crit matters a lot, as you need any damage on this guy. He still has slack off though. This is really scary. I think Elise is in a lot of trouble here, because she could Draco Meteor here, and that's why that crit matters a lot, because Draco Meteor might kill now, especially like this is the I don't think you switch this though. I think this is really risky. It has Regenerator, so it's gonna be back to a decent amount of HP. Do you bring in Ferrothorn and take the Focus Sash on Ferrothorn? I don't think you do that either. No! Why would you switch? Karl, you have +4. I can see it if you're really scared, but the Dark Pulse, I don't think kills. I don't think it kills. But I guess if you think that you need Skeledirge to, like, kill the rest of his team, I can maybe see it. This is such a weird situation here. I think you stay in there. Okay, goes out, goes to Tinkaton. Gonna eat the Gigaton Hammer really easily. Eats the Rocky Helmet, too. You Thunder Wave whatever comes in here. I think you Thunder Wave. Right now, you have to Thunder Wave, because you can't Encore right now. It's gonna flip turn maybe to Superior here. You Thunder Wave Superior and give yourself the best chance to live. Good. Wish is gonna heal up Hydreigon, though. Or it can also heal up... it also heals up Volcarona. So, I think you Encore the Wish. You Encore Wish here. Encore, please. Oh, because that way at least it stays in the Wish, and then you get your answer in. Either that, or you try to predict the flip turn and go to Clodsire. You could do that. Clodsire would be a height move. Go to Clodsire, it still gets the Wish. It might be protecting here, too. I think you... Yep. Yeah. Gigaton Hammer's okay, but the Wish is going to nullivate that. Yeah. You have to... I think what you do is you T-Wave here, and if you don't get the T-Wave off, you Encore the Quiver, but it might be faster then. So this is really scary now. This is kind of crazy. I think Quivering is risky. T-Wave is good. Quiver. Now you can Encore because it is slower. Even with the Quiver, you Encore the Quiver. Oh, you want attack? Paralyze, maybe? Okay, that's your one save. Do it. Come on. You got it. Encore. Because you have to Encore setup moves. That's not... 2 paralysis procs? Holy fuck, man. Okay. What are we doing here? You could go to Skeledirge. Okay, you saw it. Slack off, maybe? If you're Elise, you probably go back to... And if you're Elise and you Quiver, you go Hydreigon. I don't know if I like that. Because now you take 2 towards die. But this is where that crit mattered from Skeledirge taking the original crit. He would be at higher HP. I think a Dark Pulse now kills. I think you go to King Gambit here. Or you can go back to Tinkaton. But this is where the mind games are so significantly big here. I don't know what you do. I think you go definitely King Gambit or Tinkaton. Now you die. Now you don't switch. But you go King Gambit surely here now. I think you needed Torch Song to kill the Ferrothorn. I think Karl's in a bat now. I don't think he can kill Ferrothorn. I don't know if he can win anymore. I think Gigaton Hammer into a Alomomola is what's just going to happen here. Yeah, that's the problem. Regenerator or Momomola, you're seeing it now. How much of a bitch this thing actually gets to do when it's doing its set. I think you have to go Clodsire here if you're Karl, maybe. But it's just going to wish. It's just going to wish everything back up. That's the problem. So now we're in a really tough spot where it's going to wish every time. Now you have to encore the wish, but she can just switch away. I think you have to go to Clodsire here. You're going to be King Gambit gambling now. I think is what's going to end up happening. Because I think you're going to have to go 5 down King Gambit to win. Yeah, because it's just going to be a wish back again. And we're at the same spot. Again, you probably just have to encore its quiver. Like, you've obviously used encore on the wish, so you know that that's the ideal move to get against these setup guys. But I guess you go Clodsire. It walls off this entire thing. It doesn't do anything. This is also interesting. EQ does respectable damage. But she could also just go to... He could go... Yeah. EQ. Toxic is nice there. Leaf Storm on Tinkaton is what you're going to see here, probably. But it's really dangerous. But you can at least Sucker Punch it eventually here. It's going to come down to King Gambit again. What you see here doesn't really matter. It's just going to come down to King Gambit. So what's going to end up happening is you go to Tinkaton to take the Leaf Storm. It lives. It still lives 2+, I believe. And then you Gigaton Hammer here. But I missed the freaking Leaf Storm again. Wow. Elise missing that. She's been so unlucky with that. That's so much bullshit. Now, this match just got even more interesting than it already was. I think the problem with King Gambit is you have to go through Ferrothorn still. And technically speaking, Volcarona has gotten paralyzed twice already unluckily. I think you have to just stay in with Tinkaton, like really. I guess you could have gone to Clodsire. That would have been the move, Clodsire into EQ. You go Clodsire here and just kills you, and then you go King Gambit gambling again. And this is where it's going to get interesting. Like, again, King Gambit could be swords dancing on attack. So with the Will-O-Wisp, Earthquake does no damage. So now if you're Elise, the play with Elise is you try to get to a situation where Ferret is full HP against King Gambit and it's butting heads against you. And then you hope to God you kill it with like Gyro Ball. But if you're Elise, you just stay in and try to like get to a situation where King Gambit is either going up +6 Veronica. I think if you're Veronica, you just keep doing this. Because this thing has 0 threat to you now. You just keep building up your Veronica until you can one-shot King Gambit. I think King Gambit with Supreme Overlord, Stab, Black Glasses, I think it kills Volcarona. Its physical defense is not that good. So this is where it's going to get really interesting. I mean, plus 6 Volcarona in every stat, but it doesn't really matter. It only matters if King Gambit kills it in one hit. But yeah, Elise could just keep stalling here. But there's no reason for either one of them to switch right now. They don't want to face King Gambit. So, God, this is fucking... Oh my God. I think Flamethrower does technically more damage. Because it doesn't resist. So Flamethrower is going to take more. Flamethrower is going to kill. Don't switch! Don't switch! Oh my God, okay. Goes for the quiver. Now Sucker Punch, I guess you have to. Doesn't kill paralysis? No. Oh, you needed the paralysis proc. I guess you needed to crit the fucking thing, but you needed the Supreme Overlord damage, I think. So now you're just gonna sit there and die to a Flamethrower. This is the match imaginable. EQ actually does more damage than I thought, so we should have been EQing there the entire time too. Crits on the Bug Buzz. Goes for the EQ. Okay. So we got a little unlucky there from some paralysis procs earlier, but I think this match now with the Alamomola, I think there was a moment where you stay in +3 Torch Song plus ×3 special attack. Nothing wants to stay in. You Torch Song everything there. It's the pivotal moment in the match right there. And again, every time you have King Gambit, for the folks at home, I've said it many times, if you're going to have King Gambit, if you have him on your team, try to make him the last one alive, have the 10% increase single time. You can also Sword Stance, so that way if they predict your Sucker Punch, you're doing something. And yeah, it's just a little unfortunate. Yeah, I think there's a couple of plays that could have been changed around. I think there's a couple misses, couple of paralysis procs that really helped Karl in the first place to get to where he was, to make the match close. Karl and paralysis procs, match made in heaven. But you can see how good Alphonse is too with the Wish, Flip Turn. How many heals did Alphonse get on Volcarona? That thing was dead 2 times over without those wishes. So you can see why Elise pre-tournament was one of the scarier ones. Honestly, why Karl's team is one of the scarier ones too. Both these teams had very honest moments where they could have won this match. And obviously Elise gets the better of the day. But there are so many moments where I think a different switch, a different play, a different move just goes in and just changes the trajectory of this entire match. So it's a little, you know, I know we're back end on the end of the match here, but it's just so many different plays.
Karl just flexing, hey, I have recovered.
And now,
why would you kiss substance? Okay.
Elise has. I told you Elise's matches were debatably going to be the longest matches in the tournament.
Not the nasty
really
plot.
Quick, which I did not expect. Well, actually, that's the only way to kill. Because you could...
Yeah, you're right.
If Karl's going to keep recovering, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So...
Okay. Hey. Is this guy good or what?
Oh, jeez.
I wanna point out.
You're the one stalling me, okay?
Yeah.
The only reason I stopped is because Chris sent me a DM and said, we gotta go, dude, wrap this up.
That's incredible.
Karl, I'm just going to ask you this.
Go ahead.
It's an honest question. Do you think at any moment you made... if you had to rethink one moment during the match you would have done differently?
I'm being very stingy with the King Gambit. Is that what you're alluding to?
No? That was one of them, but I think no, King Gambit you're not being stingy with at all. You're doing them for the most part. You had a +3 Skeleton.
And then you swapped it out.
At any point did you think you want to did you want to switch that guy? What was your thought process? I want to hear from the guy himself.
Remember the exact. I think the logic was I didn't want him to die early. Wasn't he like against a type disadvantage?
He
I don't remember.
Was kind of, but
there was an Olama
he
Mole,
still would have.
right?
No, it was against my high dragon.
Yeah, you would have killed him. Yeah.
You would have killed me because you're +3.
You had a really good spot.
Like Dark Pulse is kill.
My brain thinks in types, which is why I fuck up a lot of the times.
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't really look at those stats.
Prij on the field for the first time tonight. Yes. Chad is gonna go crazy.
I'm finally here.
Gen 6, I had ranked probably the lowest out of any generation prior to this tournament. Notably, some of the reasons why is its pool of Pokemon is very small. Mainly because when X and Y came out, they were more focused on coming up with Megas, which took up a lot of their new Pokemon to the generation. Another reason why I don't know, there's something like, it kind of reminds me of Gen 3 where I don't feel like they hit that hard. It's just, to me, just like Gen 7 kind of loses Ultra Beast and Gen 9 loses Paradox Pokemon, I think losing Megas really hurts Gen 6. But Prij still managed to make a solid team out of this generation, so I'm excited to talk about it specifically. Also, fun fact about Prij's team, he is the only member of the 10 players that did not include a starter at all on his team, so that is interesting as well. And he also doesn't have Hawlucha, so Hawlucha fans out there are also in tears as well. So Let's talk about Pridge's team. Scouting is good on Noivern right there. Has the Frisk to find out items. Roost to kind of just hang around a little bit. Super Fang, good speed as well. But Super Fang cuts down the damage of half their HP. Avalugg is a physical wall right there, even though it's Ice type, which is a little unfortunate. Body Press and Gyro Ball are nice little damage sources right there. And Recover obviously makes him stay around a little bit. Dragalge is a nice Pokemon to kind of deal with like fairies that might switch in for Noivern. He can also dish damage back. Very good stats actually too, I think. I mean, most chunk of dragons do have good stats. And adaptability does a lot of damage. So when he does use these poison and dragon moves, they will do chunks and chunks of damage. Pangoro, the Punching King, Rocky Balboa here. Going for the bullet punch for priority, and then a bunch of just punches. Actually doesn't have a dark move, ironically, too, but I don't think Prij really needs it, but just something to keep note of as well. Assault Vest makes him tankier on the special side. Just watch out for those fairies. Heliolisk has the Dry Skin to switch in for water moves on a team that doesn't really appreciate water moves, even though he has 2 dragon moves. Just nice to get another like immunity. Anytime you can pick up immunities is very important. Pangoro has one, Heliolisk has one, and certainly Florges. So picking up nice immunities is good. Noivern has one for ground as well. And just nice special attacking utility moves right there. And then Florges just comes around, does a lot of damage as well with some special attacking moves. Defog to help out with the rocks against Noivern and Avalugg. And I'm excited to see what Prij does with this team. Congrats, Prij.
So we're going to restart. We know some things now, basically how the team plays out. If you predict something, yeah, so you can actually now make a switch of what's going on. If Kyle's going to start with Torterra, try to get the rocks up. Now, since these two have already played a little bit, we're back from some mishaps, if you haven't heard, but yeah, that gets cut. Anyway, goes for the Signal Beam. Now has Signal Beam threat on this, and has the Stealth Rock comes out again. We can just get 4 just to defog him again. The Signal Beam is going to threaten a 2-shot unless it crits. You could Magnezone here. Again, Heliolisk can't really do anything to Magnezone, as we learned from previous moments. But it is nice to see Prij back in the match and going with the classic Bryce sprite, his Bryce Cloister. Volt switch instead on a ground type, but maybe predicted the Magnezone to come in, which is also interesting. Now goes Pangoro. That was an amazing play by, that could have just gotten stuffed by, if he would have thought he would have stayed in. So that's very, very good play by Prij. Pandemonium is going to go do terrifying things here. Goes for the Fire Punch on a switch. Instead of going for the physical move, the fighting move, goes for the Fire Punch, which also would have hit Magnezone hard, which is really nice. Gets the burn also really juicy there. I think a Thunder Punch at this range might kill. It's close. Probably not. Doesn't really want to take a Fairy move either. I think a Fairy move one-shots Pandemonium. So this is also kind of risky. I think you need to keep Pangoro alive. I don't think I would risk doing a Thunder Punch here. I think I would just go back to Forges here. Very good switch. Then you go Defog. And yeah, the Dazzling Gleam comes out. Could have been a Thunder Wave too, but yeah, I think the Fairy move would have 100% killed a Pangoro. So it's nice to switch out, get Forges in here for the Defog. I probably go to like Magnezone here, and then on Defog, ooh, goes for the Psychic Noise, can't heal. But now can't Defog without dying. So that was a risky move. Because you want to get rid of these rocks so Noivern and Avalugg can come out and play a little bit more. And Noivern appreciates being swapped in and out a little bit. Really can't risk that with the Flash Cannon. I think you might actually have to... Do you defog? Do you value the defog and then bring something in that might be able to kill Torterra? It's half HP. It might not be able to get rocks off anyway. I think you might just defog here, but it depends if you really want to keep Forges alive for Garchomp too, specifically. Yeah, so it goes for Heliolisk. Eats the Flash Cannon. Again, not too well because it's still kind of squishy even though it resists it. So a couple of those Flash Cannons will start hurting Heliolisk here. Now the big thing is, we talked about this before the stream went down, that Heliolisk can't really do anything back to Magnezone. That's the problem. Usually they run Focus Blast where they can. Unfortunately, we do not see that on this set. It can miss, so it's a little risky. But there's really nothing Heliolisk can do. I guess you Volt Switch out, but if you're predicting that on, you can go back to Torterra. So that's also something that can happen here too. I think you go to Gastrodon. I think Gastrodon is the play for Kyle, because then he can switch out, absorb the Thunder or Electric moves, and doesn't really care about the Signal Beam too. Then Helios can threaten with Earth Power, and then you get Tempo from there. And we'll see what happens, because you can Ice Beam on switch on a Flyer or a Dragon that is trying to come in. I think that would be the move I would do for Kyle. Goes for Garchomp instead. Still resists the electric moves, and Signal Beam doesn't do too much damage, so that's still a nice switch. Probably going to see a Florges here. Risky to see the Florges because, again, if you go a ground move, then Florges dies. But bringing Noivern in is kind of scary too, because you don't really want to face a Garchomp, Bob the Drag Queen. You don't really want to face that either. So it's such a tough call. I'm not sure. This is a 50-50 because it could run a ground move here, or it could run Dragon Claw. I think both are really good options for Kyle. I think you always go Dragon Claw there, because I don't think Florges is going to switch. Yeah, so when you have Volt Switch, if it hits a ground move, cannot switch out. It's like kind of like what we saw with Flip Turn. If it hits a Water Absorb, it can't switch out. So Avalog's going to try to wall this off. I think we easily see... maybe what you do is, I think we go, because you're obviously fearing Ice Spinner, right? What I would probably do is maybe Infernape against Ice Titanic. Monkey's famously good against boats. Super effective damage against boats, especially fire monkeys who burn them down. And you're seeing that right here. We named the monkey Hot to Go to the polls. So again, we're at a point where this could easily be a Flare Blitz or a close combat. I think either one is value here. I think Knockoff is just the safe move no matter what you do, because Knockoffs this thing's leftovers. Or if Noivern comes in, it gets rid of its items too. So yeah, that's the correct play. Noivern's going to take a huge Knockoff, and you can see what just happened previously, that Knockoff is just such huge value on switches. It's a safe move. Even if Floor just switched in to block it, it doesn't appreciate its item getting knocked off. Same with Pangoro. It wants to keep the Assault Vest. So it's just kind of unfair when you get that chance. But come on, Field of Noise comes in. Girls rock your boys, especially the ones that go to the polls. So we'll see what happens with Infernape here. I think we're going to see a switch to Magnezone here. Garchomp is also pretty fair. Air Slash hits hard, but I think the switch to Garchomp might be a little risky, because now you're just facing a Dragon Pulse, and I think it kills at this range. So I think we're going to lose Bob the Drag Queen. Unfortunately, the reign of Queendom is gone. And that was a good play by Prij. Nice picking up the kill there. I think Magnezone might have been the correct play. Now you can bring in Magnezone now. I think Magnezone's a pivotal Pokemon, and it's the same with Pangoro on the opposite side. I think both of them are the main focuses of the enemy team. Togekiss is an interesting call. I get why you would do it, because it does resist the dragon moves. I think maybe we're going to see a Thunder Wave here. I think at this point, Noivern is completely worthless. Maybe not completely, but I think you have to get Florges to get it back in, because it dies to Stealth Rock on Switch, or like gets chunked by Stealth Rock, and it might get like paralyzed here. I don't really like the Noivern save here, but I guess you can go Florges here and T-Wave on Florges, now Air Slash. You might not get that defog off, and that's where it becomes to be. There's a high chance that you just don't get it off, and Noivern takes the damage anyway. Gets the speed up from the berry, but yeah, there's that flinch. And I think with the speed up plus the paralysis, I think that's hard to calculate if it's going to happen, but yeah, it's still slower. And now Noivern gets chunked by the rocks anyway. And now you're like, okay, you have to go, go, Gidge. And you see a poison move in. I see with Magnezone, and a dragon move gets resisted by it. I think Magnezone's an easy call here. You don't want to eat a Sludge Bomb. Again, another safe option if you're really worried about Magnezone taking damage and you really value him is bringing in Gastrodon. I think Gastrodon really walls off things with. It's got pretty good HP and decent special defense. So if you're really unsure what to bring in. I think that's a safe pick. I also think just sacking Toga Kiss here is not bad here. So I think Thunder Waving with Toga Kiss is perfectly acceptable. I think it's a fine move. But you go Gastrodon here, gets the Sludge Bomb, eats it. Then you can go Ice Beam out. And I don't think anything really wants to take it. I guess you go Avalog, but it eats rock damage. Noivern dies. Pangoro has an Assault Vest, but it doesn't really want to take Sludge Bomb, the poison. So Prij is in a really rough spot. It doesn't want to take an Ice Beam either, so it's got to switch out to Pangoro. I think Pangoro with Assault Vest might be your best bet. It resists the rocks. Avalog's fine too, but look at that rock damage right there. You can see it right now. And I think like Infernape could just easily come back in here. And I guess Body Press does decent damage here, but I think it's a tricky situation. We do have the Avalog, but like I said, dealing with Magnezone, we need Pangoro healthy for that. Here comes the Infernape back in, gets the Recover. That's really nice too. Now we're back to square one. And I think since there's less things to take the close combat or the knockoff, now you just have to stay in with Ice Egg the Titanic. And I think it's about to be sunk right here. And Jack's not going to fit again. He had to go to the polls. But I think we're going to see a knockoff here. I think we're going to see a close combat. Any of those three moves are pretty frustrating for Prij to see. It is banded, this Infernape, so if it goes knockoff, chunks you the first time, you're pretty safe the second time. Pangoro gets knocked off here. I guess it's not that big of a deal. Close combat is going to kill Pangoro, Pandemonium right there. And that really is just unfortunate. And then Noivern dies to the rocks immediately because 4 just couldn't get that off. As I said before, I think sacrificing the Noivern was the correct play way back when, because getting rocks or defog off is really hard, and I get you wanted it for the Avalog, but yeah, Pangoro, the Twitch in, probably thought maybe a knockoff was going there. So now you have close combat going into Dragolage. You could easily just go to Magnezone here. It walls off this thing. You can also go to Torterra if you want a free switch and you don't want to take damage on Magnezone. I think Torterra is completely worthless at this stage in the game. You have a lot of options if you're Kyle. So Kyle played pretty well this match. I think switching in the Infernape a couple of matches was pretty good switches. It's not fully over. I think Dragolich can maybe do some damage, maybe kill off some guys here. I don't really know how he's just going to get through Magnezone here. Hydro Pump is good, and I don't know how the speed works here. That's why I don't think bringing Magnezone in is the correct play. I always think Torterra is the safe move, because at worst, you absorb, or Gastrodon, pick one of the two, because you need Magnezone alive. I guess you don't need it, but it helps wall off a couple things. And now you're flirting with a little danger, because this Hydro Pump, you probably go Gastrodon now. You go Torterra now, which is interesting. It doesn't really wall off the Hydro Pump now. And you could easily see a Sludge Bomb here, and I don't think Gastrodon really wants to take the Sludge Bomb, even though it took it the last time, but it could get poisoned. So this became a little bit more interesting than I thought it would have needed to be. Infernape still could come in on any dead switch. Gastrodon just switching around. Guys, just taking kind of damage for free. Kyle getting a little bit just needs to let a guy die, reset tempo, and go to Infernape. Kind of get a little too focused on switching out to try to find the right pick for this. And in doing so, kind of making it a little bit dangerous. Now you just got to let somebody die. Lets him die, gets crit. Now he goes Infernape, probably goes for that. Is what I would probably do now. There's zero reason to do that. Because you can't take the Magnezone. There you go. Now you can knock off here. But I'm Prij. I'd probably go back to Avalog. Maybe hoping that he knocks off instead. Because he doesn't want to Flare Blitz. He doesn't really want to close combat. Yeah, I think I would have gone back to Avalog there to take that off. This is really interesting. This match just became a little bit closer than it needs to be. Because the Hydro Pump, if it hits Magnezone, probably kills. He's hit every single Hydro Pump. Sludge Bomb kills Torterra. Sludge Bomb kills Togekiss. Now we're in a little bit of a pickle here. Because this should have been a free win. And now we're getting to a point where I think Sludge Bomb kills. I don't know if... I think we're in a little bit of a tricksy spot now. Because the crit air slash, I don't know how much of a difference that makes. Dragon Glitch does have pretty good stats. I don't know. He could have gotten flinched too. I don't know how much of a difference that would have made, but I think that could have been a difference maker. Again, switching to the knockoff, maybe to let I Sink the Titanic eat the knockoff, and then he takes another one and recovers because he's choice banded. He wouldn't have taken as much damage from the knockoff the second time. And I think he actually lives 2 knockoffs then. So he would have taken rock damage. I get it. But I think that might have been the only out, maybe. And then it was such a closer match. And the crazy part is Flash Cannon pretty much cleans this up from here. But Prij is going to Ice Spinner here. I think if you're Kyle, you just like maybe paralyze, maybe go for a flinch. Just get as much damage. No! Why? Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Now he's going to go for that. That could have crit. That could have been a body press. Unlikely that it was a body press, but just... And the Titanic has been sunk by the electrical tank right there. It's so fun, man. Good match.
I was stressed out at the end there.
Hey, Kyle
Yes.
Kyle really knows how to make this really close for content.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I literally had two misclicks in a row. That's why I
was
kept
it a misclick?
switching.
Okay.
I was like, I didn't mean to pick either of those. I was getting nervous. My fingies were.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any ACs, so everything's sweaty.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you were switching out when you had no reason to, and I was very confused.
That was actually my strategy. Yeah.
I have.
All right, folks. Well, unfortunately, due to rain, by which I mean Pokemon Showdown's website being down for about 30 minutes, which really, really sucks, especially after we spent 10 minutes in a match that then had to get scrapped. I think we are going to call it right here, which does mean we still have 7 matches left. Very, very excited for those to be completed.
It's a little under half, right?
There's 15 matches total, and we have done
yeah, it's a 7.
8. It's basically half, a little more than half. It's right on the half line. So.